low hum echoes over the sprawling, illuminated cityscape at night. On a quiet street corner, a man in an apron answers his phone with a simple, "Hello." Startled, Seo Min-woo flinches as he listens to the call. He reels in shock as a voice on the phone informs him that his mother passed away this afternoon. Alone in a dark alley, he absorbs the heavy news and the caller's condolences. The scene shifts to a hospital, its tower also serving as a funeral home. Inside, he reflects that he was raised by his grandmother and never even knew his mother's face. Sitting solemnly, Seo Min-woo remembers how she abandoned him at age 8 and never returned. A smiling photograph of his mother rests on a funeral altar, surrounded by flowers. An attendant offers him the chief mourner's armband, but Seo Min-woo questions if he even deserves the title. He stares at the armband with a look of deep, internal conflict. Crushing the fabric in his fist, he scoffs at the very idea of them being family. He bitterly questions if their relationship could ever truly be called family. A painful memory surfaces of his small hand reaching out as his mother walked away from him. He recalls his childhood confusion, desperate to understand why she had to leave him. The image of her distant, retreating back is burned into his memory. Now wearing the armband, Seo Min-woo stands stoically in his role as chief mourner. His fist tightens with resentment as he thinks she could have visited him at least once. Gazing at her memorial, he realizes that with her death, he can no longer even hold on to his resentment. His thoughts drift back to the title he now holds. Chief mourner? He is suddenly jolted out of his thoughts by an unexpected presence. The attendant apologizes for startling him and offers to guide him to the VIP room. While reviewing the schedule, the attendant suddenly stops, realizing something has changed. Seo Min-woo leans in, confused by the sudden interruption and asking who caused it. The attendant turns his head as unexpected visitors arrive. An elegant couple enters, accompanied by 2 small children with feline features. Wondering who these familiar people are, Seo Min-woo forces a smile and thanks them for coming. The 2 cat-eared children, a boy and a girl, gaze up with serious expressions. Remembering that his mother was a preschool director, he begins to connect the dots. He watches the little boy touch a flower, wondering if his mother's job is why they're here. The boy looks up at him with a surprisingly intense and determined stare. As the children bow politely to offer condolences, Seo Min-woo thinks they are very well-mannered. The children's small hands are placed together in a sign of respect. The 2 children perform a deep, formal prostration on the floor mats. The boy quietly corrects his sister, Myuya, on the proper hand placement for a girl's bow. Myuya looks down at her hands, confused by the instruction. Realization dawns on her face, followed by a wave of flustered embarrassment. She quickly corrects her posture, collapsing onto the floor with a thump. As the adults watch, Seo Min-woo wonders what the children are asking for, while Myuya whimpers in confusion. The visiting man tells Seo Min-woo that his mother was a remarkable woman, leaving him stunned. Seo Min-woo cautiously asks the man how he knew his mother. The man gazes toward the memorial altar with a look of respect. Seo Min-woo has a flash of realization, recognizing them as Korea's most famous celebrity couple. He is utterly baffled as to why such prominent figures would attend his estranged mother's funeral. The celebrity extends his hand for a firm handshake. As they shake hands, Seo Min-woo remains visibly confused by the encounter. The man thanks him for everything, but Seo Min-woo can only ask what he's being thanked for. The famous couple bows deeply to Seo Min-woo before taking their leave. A man in a morning suit stands at a funeral, wondering what he just witnessed and lamenting his lack of answers. He sighs, hoping the next mourner will be less confusing than the last. Bang! He realizes with a resigned smile that his hope was in vain. A foot stomps down with intense force. An older man storms in, carrying a small child in a tiger costume on his shoulder. The man in the morning suit asks if the gloomy arrival is the director's son. He confirms that he is, feeling crushed by the older man's overwhelming presence and asking for his identity. The older man praises the deceased and introduces himself as Baek Sung-hwan. A flashback reveals Baek Sung-hwan is a powerful former general, now the CEO of a major defense company. When Baek Sung-hwan asks about the deceased's final journey, the son admits he barely knew her. The small child on Baek Sung-hwan's shoulder looks up with teary eyes. Baek Sung-hwan picks up a flower to offer his respects. As they approach the altar, the son notes that the child seems unusual. Baek Sung-hwan bows deeply before the funeral altar. The child attempts to copy Baek Sung-hwan and bow as well. Thud, the child faceplants, and Baek Sung-hwan turns in alarm as the son expresses concern. The son wonders why the child isn't getting up, while Baek Sung-hwan clenches his fist in distress. The child begins to wail, realizing he's crying from the pain of the fall, not sadness. Sniffling, the child declares he's a tiger, but the son mentally calls him a liar, noting his teary eyes from the start. The scene shifts to a dining hall, filled with other mourners. Nearby, an attendant struggles to calm a wailing child in a bunny costume, prompting Baek Sung-hwan to apologize. The scene transitions with a hazy, indistinct view. A woman in a suit stands sniffling near a large turtle shell, making the son wonder if his mother ran an animal farm. She explains her husband is a hospital director who wanted to care for Director IM, and he thanks her. Unsurprised, she bows, expressing gratitude for his mother's care of the children. A child with green hair and a turtle shell tearfully asks his mother if they can never see the director again. Wailing for the director, the child unleashes a wave of power that lifts people into the air. The son looks out the window, confused by the sudden, dramatic shift in the weather. As the green-haired child continues to cry, the son dismisses it as typical childish behavior. The child's mother urgently tells him to stop, calling him Bobo. She comforts Bobo, explaining the director is watching over him from a beautiful place as rain falls on the city outside. Bobo calms down and innocently asks if he can see the director there too. Outside, pedestrians are baffled as the rain abruptly stops and sunshine breaks through the clouds. Bobo's grief returns, and he lets out a powerful cry. A massive bolt of lightning strikes a skyscraper, summoned by the child's sorrow. A man with blue hair winces as blood trickles from his ear, remarking, "Oh dear," while Bobo continues to cry for the director. The blue-haired man firmly tells Bobo to stop and leads him away as the director's son watches. As Bobo is led away sniffling, the son reflects on how deeply these children mourn his mother. He feels a sense of detachment, realizing he couldn't shed a single tear himself. The moment darkens. Reflecting his somber mood, he finds himself lost in thought, questioning who his mother truly was. Walking alone, he considers that she might not have been a good parent to him. The gloomy weather outside only adds to his unsettled feelings. Deciding it's time to leave, he walks toward the exit. As he approaches the VIP room, a woman's voice calls out for Mr. Seo Min-woo. Seo Min-woo turns, surprised to be addressed. The woman holds out a document and introduces herself as Kim Si-ryong, manager of the Divine Beast Preschool. Kim Si-ryong stands formally, offering the papers to him. Seo Min-woo looks down with a stunned expression at the documents being presented to him. Seo Min-woo stares blankly at the document, his mind a whirlwind of confusion. As Kim Si-ryong respectfully bows, he wonders what kind of person leaves a preschool as an inheritance. Kim Si-ryong maintains a stoic and professional expression. She offers him her card, telling him to take his time, leaving him stunned by the bombshell she just dropped. What? Later, his shock manifests as an internal scream while standing outside a hospital. An attendant from the billing department confronts a horrified Seo Min-woo about his mother's remaining balance of 8 million won. Arg! When corrected that the bill is actually 8.17 million won, Seo Min-woo screams that it's basically the same amount. He fumes, realizing the funeral food was overpriced, as a flashback shows the child in the tiger costume enjoying a meal. Putting on a brave face, Seo Min-woo nervously asks the attendant to wait while he checks the condolence money. He walks toward the VIP room, confident that the important guests who attended would have left enough to cover the bill. He opens the door with a startling bang and spots the condolence money box. He pulls out a thick envelope, relieved by its apparent weight and thinking there's a lot inside. His hope turns to disbelief as he pulls out beef jerky instead of cash. Enraged, he finds the envelope is full of snacks, leaves, and toy money, vowing revenge on Tiger Guo. He grits his teeth in frustration, lamenting that children should be kept away from the donation envelopes. Feeling wronged, he wishes he had received a real inheritance when suddenly a realization strikes him. He remembers the inheritance document for the preschool that Kim Si-ryong gave him. The scene transitions to a dark and stormy night. Seo Min-woo arrives at an unknown location with his suitcase, accepting that he had no other choice. Having used his apartment deposit for the funeral, he finds himself homeless on a rainy street. He looks up at a weathered sign, confirming his arrival at the Divine Beast Preschool. He skeptically surveys the dilapidated building, wondering if he's truly at the right place. Disgusted by the dust, he touches another crumbling sign and complains that the place looks like a haunted house. A mysterious purple energy crackles in the darkness. He hesitantly approaches the entrance. Surprise! He recoils in shock, startled by how ancient and fragile the building feels. In a brief flashback, a lawyer named Yu Chang-sik introduces himself as a buddy, though Seo Min-woo seems unimpressed. Eek! He screams as Kim Se-ryong suddenly appears with glowing eyes, asking if he's going in. Startled, he asks her to make some noise when approaching, admitting he mistook her for a ghost after tripping over the sign he broke. Kim Se-ryong calmly points out that the broken sign was expensive, leaving Seo Min-woo speechless. He quickly apologizes and offers to pay for it, but she tells him it's fine. She leads the way inside, and an intense energy seems to swirl around them as Seo Min-woo follows. He feels an overwhelming pressure, thinking the atmosphere is intensely crazy. Watching Kim Se-ryong walk ahead, he immediately regrets his decision to come here at all. He tries to reassure himself that there are no ghosts as he nervously follows her toward the entrance. He chuckles nervously, trying to dismiss it as an old house, only to be terrified by a cat jumping out. Thump. He collapses in fear onto his suitcase, utterly scared. Kim Se-ryong looks back with a look of contempt, remarking that he's quite the scaredy cat. As they walk toward the entrance, she admits the house is old and that animals often pass through. She pushes the door open, assuring him that the inside is clean despite the exterior. A brilliant, warm light pours out from the open doorway, banishing the darkness. Seo Min-woo sits on the ground, looking up in awe at the radiant light. He gets to his feet and cautiously peers into the unbelievably bright entrance. Inside is a breathtakingly grand and opulent hall, completely defying the building's rundown appearance. Kim Se-ryong turns back to him, silently questioning his stunned silence. Seo Min-woo is left utterly speechless and dumbfounded by the impossible sight before him. A voice calls out his name, Mr. Min-woo, startling him from his daze. He stands frozen at the threshold, luggage in hand, unable to process what he's seeing. He takes a tentative step forward, drawn toward the magnificent light. The grand hall is revealed to be a magical space, a new scene unfolding, separate from his cold reality. Such a fantasy world appears, heralding a strange new reality. Seo Min-woo pulls his suitcase into the impossibly grand and radiant hall. Thump! He takes a determined step forward into the brilliant, unknown space. As he walks, a glowing blue holographic window suddenly materializes before him. The system offers him the chance to become the new director of the Divine Beast preschool. He stares in stunned disbelief, wondering what he is seeing. He tentatively reaches out and presses his finger against the mysterious glowing screen. The system officially welcomes him by his full name, Seo Min-woo. The moment he touches it, the holographic window dissolves into shimmering particles of light. He wonders aloud what the disappearing window was, only to be interrupted by Kim Se-ryong, asking what he meant. Kim Se-ryong adjusts her tie, stating she has no idea what he was just looking at. Left speechless and flustered, Seo Min-woo is unable to offer an explanation. He realizes with a jolt that he must have been the only one to see it, adding to the day's strangeness. He recalls the building's dilapidated exterior, questioning if this surreal place is truly a preschool. His mind flashes back to the hologram that offered him the director position. A swirling blue energy visualizes the magical, hidden nature of the preschool. His attention is drawn to an incredibly ornate and out-of-place elevator. He gazes at the magnificent elevator, confused by its grandeur in what should be a simple building. Asking about it, Seo Min-woo learns from Kim Se-ryong that it's called the Arena Lift, installed by his mother. He scoffs at the idea of naming an elevator, but she confirms it's normal, even though there's only one floor. Kim Se-ryong tells him to follow her, ready to get down to business. She leads the way, stating they will discuss the details inside an office. Seo Min-woo pauses, a thoughtful and suspicious expression on his face. She walks confidently toward an imposing office at the top of a grand staircase. He runs a hand over an antique vase, noting how perfectly the opulent decor fits the impossible space. Kim Se-ryong waits for him on the stairs, arms crossed with a knowing expression. She tells him not to worry about paying for the antiques, which only makes him more uncertain. Now seated in her office, he asks how the building can be so grand inside when it looked abandoned outside. He struggles to explain, finally comparing the magical interior to a place like Hogwarts. Kim Se-ryong rises from her desk with an exasperated look, leaving him confused by her reaction. Completely bewildered, Seo Min-woo questions where he really is and if this is all some elaborate prank. She glances back at him, her expression conveying a hint of impatience. Pointing to his luggage, Kim Si-ryung dangles a solution to his homelessness by offering him the contract. She places the contract on the desk with an air of finality. With a confident smile, Kim Se-ryung presents her seemingly perfect solution to all his problems. He's shocked, realizing with alarm that she somehow knows he's completely broke. He immediately fantasizes about a life of luxury, imagining a lavish staff room and toasting to his new fortune. Looking back at the grand hall, he wonders if this incredible opportunity is the end of his hardships. A montage reveals his past struggles, working multiple jobs to cover living expenses, tuition, and his grandmother's hospital bills. His face is a mask of tense resolve as he contemplates the monumental decision before him. Deciding to take the risk, he picks up the contract, acknowledging that it seems suspicious but necessary. The contract is shockingly simple, stating he will inherit all the previous director's authority and responsibilities. He's hit with a strange vision of floating through the galaxy, symbolizing the massive scope of his new role. He stares at the contract in disbelief, shocked that such a huge inheritance is on just one piece of paper. The contract sits on the desk between them, a silent testament to the life-altering choice he faces. Kim Si-ryung explains the preschool is a special institution for divine beasts, as shadowy children with glowing eyes appear. He questions what divine beasts are, and she cheerfully clarifies they are special animal children. After she explains that a director is vital and his qualifications don't matter, she drops a bombshell. She's the only staff member. His hopes crash as he realizes he's being offered a one-man job at a supernatural school, concluding it's a scam. Poof. Making a hasty excuse to have his lawyer review it, Seo Min-woo grabs the contract and quickly leaves. Clatter. He reaches for the office door, ready to bolt. Kim Se-ryung casually mentions the tuition fee, a sly smile on her face. He freezes at the door, her words stopping him in his tracks. Turning back with sudden interest, Seo Min-woo nervously asks how many students there are. Kim Se-ryung rests her chin on her hand, looking pleased that she's hooked him. He shouts in utter disbelief, realizing the potential income is 70 million won. His mind fills with a vision of a mountain of sparkling gold coins. He quickly calculates that with low maintenance costs, this is a golden opportunity. Deciding it's far better than any part-time job, he eagerly asks where to sign, and Kim Se-ryung points to the contract, sealing the deal. Without hesitation, he cheerfully begins to sign the paperwork. He rationalizes that he's worked at a kids' cafe before and can always sell the building if things go south as he signs his name, Seo Min-woo. With a flourish, he completes his signature on the contract. The moment his name is written, the contract erupts in a blinding golden light, shocking him. Boom! A powerful wave of magical energy surges through the office. An intricate magic circle materializes in the air, a system message confirming the contract with contractor SEO. Seo Min-woo sits surrounded by the glowing runes, completely bewildered by the magical display. Kim Se-ryung observes the unfolding magic with a calm, knowing expression. A system window materializes, announcing that he has achieved a special accomplishment. The system officially declares him the new director of the Divine Beast Preschool. A glowing orb of concentrated golden power pulsates before him. Another notification appears, confirming he has acquired a unique SS rank skill called Link. The brilliant light continues to intensify. The magical energy swirls powerfully throughout the room. The light bursts from the preschool's windows, illuminating the night. As the light fades, he collapses onto a couch, feeling the dizzying after effects. He sits up, clutching his aching head in a daze. Looking up, he sees a hand offered to him. Kim Se-ryung officially welcomes him as Director Seo Min-woo, extending her hand. Still stunned, he looks at her outstretched hand, processing the new reality. He takes her hand and they shake, finalizing their agreement. In a brief epilogue, a child named Rom is shown putting beef jerky into the condolence box, revealing the source of Seo Min-woo's earlier frustration. Surrounded by golden light, he looks up from signing the contract, a look of awe on his face. An intense flash of light signifies the contract's activation. The magical energy expands, filling the grand hall from a high-angle view. The blinding light continues to surge with overwhelming power. The narration wonders if this path will brighten his future or plunge him into darkness. A montage flashes, showing Kim Se-ryung's concerned face as she helps the overwhelmed Seo Min-woo. Standing in the now quiet hall, Kim Se-rang informs him that his busy life starts now. She leads the way, stating their first priority is finding a homeroom teacher and asking for his recommendations. He follows with a grimace, realizing that finding staff will be the hardest part. Arriving at an ornate door, she explains it is the portal room, where 2 of their preschoolers will soon arrive. Utterly confused, Seo Min-woo questions what kind of fantasy world he stumbled into where children use portals for school. Kim Se-ryung warns him not to pass out from shock again, and he promises to try his best. The elegant white portal door stands closed at the end of the hall. He points at the door, asking if that's the portal, remarking that it seems surprisingly ordinary, which she confirms. As he scoffs that it's just a fancy door, a mysterious purple energy begins to leak from its seams. Whoosh! The door bursts open with a flash of brilliant light. A massive surge of purple magical energy erupts from the doorway, forcing Seo Min-woo to shield himself. While Kim Se-ryung calmly notes their on-time arrival, he clutches his head, reeling from the intense power. A single, sturdy boot steps firmly out of the glowing portal. A child with small horns and fluffy brown hair peeks out from the swirling purple energy. Bang! The horned child bursts from the portal, joyfully shouting that he missed Kim Se-ryung. With a bright, welcoming smile, Kim Se-ryung spreads her arms wide for a hug. She kneels and warmly embraces the bleeding child who runs into her arms. Stunned, Seo Min-woo internally panics, realizing they might be actual divine beasts. His attention snaps back to the portal as it continues to glow ominously. Whoosh! A second, more intense wave of purple energy surges from the glowing doorway. Seo Min-woo turns, sensing the arrival of another powerful presence. A child with short white hair and a serious expression emerges from the portal's light. A close-up reveals her piercing golden reptilian eyes staring intently ahead. The camera pans down her body, revealing a long, scaly snake-like tail. The snake-tailed child stands fully revealed, coolly observing that the preschool hasn't changed. Shocked by her appearance, Seo Min-woo shouts in panic while her tail defensively rejects his presence. Sweating nervously, he realizes with dawning horror that this is not cosplay, it's real. As the 2 children approach, the one with the snake tail skeptically asks if he's the new teacher. The curious, horned child looks up at him while she continues her sharp, suspicious glare. Recalling his mother's cheerful farewell, Seo Min-woo finally accepts that he's at a real animal preschool. A diagram highlights the child's unsettling combination of a human upper body and a reptilian lower half. She gives him a harsh, menacing glare, her glowing eyes filled with disdain. Flinching under her intense gaze, he is left speechless and terrified. He watches as Kim Se-ryung plays with the horned child, while the snake-tailed girl just observes. The snake-tailed child looks down on him with contempt, declaring him a commoner. Seo Min-woo tries to assert his authority as director, but she arrogantly informs him that royalty doesn't use honorifics for commoners. Furious and flustered, he demands she bring her parents, but she simply scoffs at him. Kim Se-ryung looks over with a questioning glance, sensing the escalating tension. Feeling utterly defeated, Seo Min-woo begins walking away, his luggage in hand. The surreal events of the past hour flash through his mind as he questions his new reality. He puts a hand up, desperately pleading with Kim Se-ryung not to confirm his fears. With a panicked expression, he tries to stop her, but she finds his reaction a bit harsh. Kim Se-ryung stands calmly with her hands in her pockets, unimpressed by his breakdown. He realizes he should be less worried about being a landlord and more worried about becoming food for snakes and tigers. Kim Se-ryung dismisses his fear of tigers, clarifying that the tiger child, Ram, is actually gentle. Seo Min-woo struggles to process her nonchalant attitude towards having a tiger as a student. Staring at her blankly, he can only manage to ask, "What?" A sly smile crosses Kim Se-ryung's face as she addresses him as director. She gives him his first official duty, to pick up the other children using the school bus. He stands frozen before the preschool's front door, the weight of his new job crashing down on him. His face is completely shadowed over, a mask of pure dread and regret. Looking up at the sky, he comes to the grim conclusion that he has truly dug his own grave. The scene shifts back inside to the now empty grand hall. Ram and the other child run through the hall, excitedly calling for their teacher. The snake-tailed child questions if Seo Min-woo is really their director, while Ram happily refers to him as The boss, Kim Se-rung, watches them with a soft, knowing smile. Ram suddenly looks downcast and shy as his companion glares judgmentally. The snake-tailed child loudly proclaims her dislike for that Min guy. Kim Se-rung cheerfully reminds them of the preschool's first rule, prompting Ram to remember they need to wash their hands. Ram shouts that the first one there wins, while the other child retorts that royalty doesn't run. Se-ryong sighs in resignation, composing herself for the task ahead. She places her hand on a large, ornate door, preparing to enter. As she pushes the doors open, a brilliant, magical light spills out. An immense, swirling vortex of verdant energy reveals a sprawling natural landscape. A text box identifies this hidden, powerful location as the World Tree, Yggdrasil. A swarm of giant, monstrous wasps buzzes menacingly within the vibrant, magical energy. One of the wasps smashes into an unseen magical barrier with a crack. A swirling black portal crackles with energy as more wasps emerge from it. A voice explains they are using magic to block perception, but some monsters still occasionally manage to cross over. The swirling vortex of black energy appears to be a transitional portal. Se-ryong watches with concern as she notes the portal seems to have grown larger. Her hair blows in the wind, a verdant aura now surrounding her. Revealing her elven ears, she resolves to deal with the creatures quickly and retrieve the scroll. She faces down the enormous swarm of wasps as they charge toward her. With glowing green eyes, she channels her power, smashing a small wooden golem with a concentrated blast. She unleashes a powerful wave of nature magic, her eyes blazing with green light. Her verdant energy attack rips through the swarm, obliterating several wasps. Surrounded by floating leaves, she notes that there are a lot of enemies. She clenches her fist, drawing power from the ground below. Massive thorny vines erupt from the ground, ensnaring and crushing the giant wasps. The devastating nature attack continues to tear through the swarm. She lands gracefully on the stone steps, the battle seemingly concluded. Her eyes snap open in alarm as she senses a remaining threat. A powerful attack narrowly misses her, blasting the ground where she just stood. Gritting her teeth, she realizes a monster survived and vows to finish the fight before the children arrive. She summons a glowing bow made of branches, realizing she needs an even more powerful attack. Calling on the power of the wind spirit, she yells "Sylph" as her bow charges with energy. Her magical arrow splinters into dozens of smaller projectiles, raining down on the remaining wasps. As the wasps are struck, she realizes it's not their strength that has increased, but the elemental's power that has weakened. She concludes that the cursed world tree's condition is the source of the problem. Looking upon a corrupted, darkened section of the tree, she worries that its condition must be getting worse. She fears that if the yokai discover the world tree, the preschool will no longer be safe. Startled, she turns as a wasp's stinger flashes just inches from her face. She dodges just in time, narrowly avoiding the deadly attack. The monstrous wasps look on in confusion after their attack misses. The swarm suddenly looks up, distracted by an unknown presence descending from the sky. Tightly gripping a blade of solidified wind, Se-ryong prepares her next attack. With fierce determination, she grits her teeth and focuses her power. She unleashes her wind cutter technique, sending sharp blades of air slicing through the swarm. With focused intensity, she cuts down the remaining wasps with her powerful ability. She dashes through the falling leaves and defeated monsters, bringing the fight to a close. Landing softly, she surveys the quiet aftermath of the battle. The scene quiets as she stands amidst the carnage, the path cleared. Her pocket begins to glow, and she pulls out the glowing communication cube. A voice asks manager Se-ryong if she is busy, but she tells him to go ahead. She sighs as the voice pesters her, noting that it hasn't even been a day yet. The voice reminisces about reaching the arena's first floor quickly 100 years ago, which Se-ryong dismisses as a, quote, back in my day story. The voice continues, stating that director Seo Min-woo is untrusted by the committee. The voice agrees to give Seo Min-woo more time based on the previous director's choice, but dismisses humans as predictable, which Se-ryong finds discriminatory. Holding a magic stone, she listens as the voice questions whether Seo Min-woo is even capable of activating the arena. Watching the preschool from afar, Kim Se-ryong holds a glowing blue orb and wonders if he can handle the challenge ahead. The impressive modern architecture of the Divine Beast preschool is shown under a bright, sunny sky. A fairy tale-like narration begins, describing a ball held at the preschool for the birthday of a tiger hero. The story continues, mentioning a cat who played the violin, as two animal-eared children are seen from behind. A cheerful montage shows the various divine beast children, including Ram, playing happily with their parents. The scene transitions to an overhead view of a busy highway in Seoul. Driving the yellow school bus, Seo Min-woo internally admits he's still reeling from the shock of his new reality. Gripping the steering wheel, he anxiously wonders what kind of inheritance his mother truly left him. He recalls the enticing flyer for the preschool, which promised a guaranteed monthly income of 70 million won. Looking weary, he reminds himself that he took the job simply because he had nowhere else to turn. Sigh. He lets out a deep sigh while waiting at a red traffic light. Slumped over the steering wheel in defeat, he acknowledges that he's trapped by the contract. A close-up captures his face, etched with stress and regret over his hasty decision. The light turns green, and he floors it, accelerating the bus forward. He tries to console himself by focusing on the fat paycheck and free housing, calling it a lucky break. With tears streaming down his face, he forces a smile and suddenly remembers gaining a skill from the contract. A glowing blue system window abruptly materializes right in front of his face. Startled by the sudden pop-up, he loses control and swerves the van dangerously across the road. An enraged driver from another car yells at him for his reckless driving. He clutches the steering wheel, shocked that the system window appeared so suddenly. The window displays his unique sulfur monosulfide rank skill, Link, confirming that his earlier magical experience wasn't a hallucination. The system window provides a clear description of the Link skill and its ability copying power. He stares intently at the glowing screen, contemplating the strange new power he possesses. Arriving at the pickup spot, he's immediately scolded by Ram, who complains that he's 11 minutes late. Embarrassed, Seo Min-woo apologizes to the waiting children and their guardians for his tardiness. A nearby couple admires the cute children, while Seo Min-woo internally sighs that his preschool is only for animals. A woman introduces herself as Ram's mother, points out Ram and a child named Bobo, and Ram cheerfully greets his new boss. Name cards identify the two children as Ko-Bobo and Bake Ram, both age 4, as Bobo snoozes on Ram's back. Seo Min-woo asks about Ram's formal speech, and his mother explains he's just awkwardly imitating his military father. Ram's mother smiles and informs Seo Min-woo that she will be the one dropping the children off from now on. Two new children, Choi Si-woo and Choi Mi-woo, are introduced as they shyly say hello to the new director. A woman explains that the parents of Si-woo and Mi-woo are too famous to come themselves, a fact Seo Min-woo acknowledges. His eyes widen slightly as he processes the implications of having children of famous figures at his school. He crouches down with a friendly smile, greeting the two new cat-eared children. Mi-woo shyly hides behind her brother, as Seo Min-woo prepares to get them into the bus. The woman asks him to take good care of Mi-woo on her first day, and he readily agrees. A little girl with pink hair and long rabbit ears points at him, skeptically questioning if he's their teacher. Introduced as Jo A-young, age 5, she stares defiantly, and Seo Min-woo wonders what her problem is. Eek! Covering a smug grin, he confirms he's the director, which sends A-young into a fit of rage. An elderly attendant with her sighs that she's too late, causing her to panic. A-young stomps her foot petulantly, refusing to call Seo Min-woo boss, but he just laughs at her tantrum. She declares the other kids won't accept him either, but he counters that Ram already did. Her argument crumbles as she freezes in shock, completely stumped by his response. Furious, she turns and screams for Bake Ram, who is already waiting inside the school bus. The attendant sternly tells A-young to stop her rude behavior. She glows with fiery energy. She screams in protest as the attendant holds her back, claiming it's a matter of the heart. The attendant apologizes for A-young's behavior, and Seo Min-woo concludes that not a single person here is ordinary. Thud. He closes the van door, ready to depart with his eccentric group of students. From the driver's seat, he tells everyone to buckle up, and the kids enthusiastically shout, "Yes, sir!" Ram looks back from his seat with a tilted head and a curious expression. Shh. While A-young whispers that Seo Min-woo is in the boss's seat, Ram insists he isn't their real boss. As their argument escalates, Seo Min-woo overhears A-young calling Ram stupid and simply laughs it off. He adjusts the rear view mirror, correcting his thought from 5 animals to 5 children commuting. Observing the pouting kids, he tries to reassure himself that they're just divine beasts, not dangerous ones. His dark imagination runs wild as he desperately hopes the powerful children won't eat their new teacher. Deciding to befriend them, he turns with a huge smile and offers the children a handful of candy. Ram immediately perks up, excitedly shouting that he'll take some, while A-young looks on in shock. A-young furiously rejects the offer, declaring they don't eat such junk food as the bus drives on. His friendly gesture rebuffed, Seo Minwoo's smile fades into quiet disappointment. He glances back, noticing that none of the other children seem interested in his candy either. Staring at the rejected lollipops, he laments his unpopularity but accepts it's to be expected. He clears his throat, surprised to see Ram peeking curiously over the back of his seat. Ram stares intently from behind the seat, his eyes fixed on the candy in Seo Minwoo's hand. Ram whispers that he spotted his favorite orange flavor, startling a nervous Seo Minwoo. With sparkling eyes and a bit of drool, Ram gazes lovingly at the orange-flavored lollipop. Womp! In a burst of excitement, Ram lunges forward and digs his sharp claws into Seo Minwoo's shoulder. Seo Minwoo screams in terror, thinking the tiger cub is literally tearing his skin off. Through a pained grimace, he tells Ram to sit down before he gets torn to shreds. Back in his seat, Ram sniffs sadly while A-young looks on with a smug, crossed-arm expression. Thump! A single orange lollipop quietly lands in the dejected Ram's lap. Shh! Seo Minwoo glances back, giving a secretive smile and a finger to his lips. He silently begs Ram to enjoy the candy, and, more importantly, not to eat him. Ram delicately holds the precious lollipop, his eyes sparkling with pure, unadulterated joy. Beaming with happiness, Ram gives Seo Minwoo a huge smile and an enthusiastic thumbs up. As tears of relief stream down his face, Seo Minwoo thinks that it's all worth it as long as Ram is happy. A system window alerts him that his bond with Ram has slightly increased. A new notification announces his unique skill, Link, has been activated as a reward for his achievement. The system displays the details of his new ability, temporary superhuman strength. A celebratory pop-up congratulates him on earning the right to enter something called the arena. A quest guide appears, stating Arena Floor 1 is open and requires ascending with a divine beast. Stunned, he sees another window appear, displaying a strict 24-hour time limit. His mind flashes to the preschool's grand, imposing doors as he questions what the arena is. He wonders if the mysterious elevator in the lobby could be the entrance to the arena. Confused and anxious, he wishes for a better explanation as the timer on the system window counts down. He stares at the glowing blue message in his van, realizing this is all really happening. Looking at his concerned reflection, he wonders what kind of crazy situation he's been thrown into. The scene briefly flashes to an image of fresh, vibrant vegetables. A woman in a business suit stands surrounded by produce, ominously stating, in the arena, she stands before the now glowing elevator doors, a crate of vegetables at her feet. The quest guide reappears over the glowing elevator, repeating the mandatory conditions and 24-hour time limit. A glimpse of a dark, labyrinthine structure is shown from above. The narration reveals this impossible situation has pushed him to the edge of a cliff. He sees a grim vision of himself leading the children into a vast, dark, and empty space. A chilling red warning flashes before him. Failure to complete the quest means the player will die. Overwhelmed with terror, he clutches his head and deeply regrets ever inheriting the preschool. Arriving at the preschool gate, he panics, misinterpreting the children's eager shouts as a death threat. The system quest window reappears, reinforcing the 24-hour deadline for him and a divine beast to enter the arena. Slumped in defeat, he reads the final, terrifying condition. Failure results in death. He slams his hands on the dashboard, furiously screaming at the unhelpful system for its ominous messages. Tap. Startled from his panic, he looks up to see Kim Se-ryong knocking on his window. Kim Se-ryong calmly informs him that she has let all the children inside. She asks Seo Minwoo what he's thinking about so deeply, but he dismisses her concern. Looking worried, he asks manager Kim if the arena has opened by any chance. Her shocked voice echoes back, questioning how he could possibly know that. Holding Ko Bobo, a stunned Kim Se-ryong looks at him in disbelief. He wonders why she seems so happy about it, and she just blushes in response. Seo Minwoo urgently asks for more details about the elevator and the arena, startling her. Looking somber, Kim Se-ryong begins her explanation of the arena lift. She explains it is a divine beast verification test that appears in a new form every century. The scene focuses on the grand, glowing doors of the mysterious elevator. A menacing shadow of a giant beast is cast onto the floor from the elevator's light. The narration reveals that this time it's an elevator, and you must clear one floor to unlock the next. Massive, fiery monster roars, highlighting the unknown dangers that lurk within. Walking together, Seo Min-woo questions having such a dangerous thing in a preschool, and Kim Se-ryung admits she only knows rumors of its danger. Ko Bobo looks up sadly at Kim Se-ryung, who explains she tried to use the elevator herself, but it wouldn't work. Cuddling the child, she clarifies that only those who are qualified are permitted to enter. Seo Min-woo grimly considers the implications of being sent into a deadly place with only the children. He realizes his superhuman strength skill is his only chance to survive the ordeal. Wow. He begins to panic, realizing how insane his situation is, until Kim Se-ryung calls his name. Snapping out of his terror, he confusedly asks her what meeting she's talking about. She explains they need to decide which child he'll take up the arena lift, but he insists he's in a hurry to go alone. Holding Ko Bobo close, Kim Se-ryung reminds him that the children's safety comes first, and they must inform the parents. With a sudden, eager smile, he asks when the meeting will take place. His expression turns devious as a plan begins to form in his mind. Whoosh! As she walks away, she tells him the meeting is scheduled for 2 days from now. He freezes in despair, realizing he will be dead long before the meeting, thanks to the 24-hour time limit. The Kingdom of Divine Beasts Preschool is shown under its official title. Standing inside the grand building, Seo Min-woo decides his preparations should be enough. Hiding behind a pillar with lollipops, he thinks that now he just has to wait. A sudden noise from behind another piece of furniture startles him. Baekram peeks out, announcing he smells something delicious after catching the scent of candy. Ram's eyes sparkle as he focuses intently on the orange-flavored candy. Looking down from above, Ram discovers a trail of lollipops and wonders who dropped them. He crouches excitedly, amazed at how many candies he's found on the floor. His head snaps up as he notices someone approaching him. Seo Min-woo leans down with a shadowy, unsettling smile, asking Ram if he wants to go somewhere. Ram's bright yellow eyes glow with suspicion as he stares up at the director. Growl. Haughtily, Ram refuses to go, telling Seo Min-woo his expression is very suspicious. Recognizing Ram's sharp instincts, Seo Min-woo resorts to bribery, offering 3 more candies. He holds up 3 fingers, but Ram counters by holding up 5, demanding a better offer. Sigh. After Seo Min-woo reluctantly agrees, Ram throws his arms up and cheers, "Yay!" As they walk toward the glowing elevator doors, Seo Min-woo suddenly senses something behind him. Out of nowhere, Jo Young launches a flying dropkick, screaming at him to stop bullying Ram. The powerful kick connects directly with the side of his head. The impact rings through the hall. A Young clings to his back, accusing him of luring Ram with food, while Ram just looks on, startled. She climbs onto his face, telling him to get down while reminding Ram how suspicious she knew he was. Erg. She heroically tells Ram to run, while she holds the villain back, as Ram simply enjoys his lollipop. Distracted from the chaos, Ram notices a large wheel on the elevator mechanism and asks what it is. Whisk! Seo Min-woo suddenly grabs a shocked A-young, pulling her off his back. Holding her in his arm, he looks over at Ram and nervously asks if he pulled the lever. Crack. The lollipop in Ram's hand snaps in 2 from the force of his grip. Hee. Ram proudly stands beside the giant lever and cheerfully admits that he did. The elevator suddenly lurches and begins to descend rapidly, throwing them off balance. The grand ornate doors of the arena lift slam shut. As the elevator plummets, Ram looks down with curiosity, while Seo Min-woo and a Young stare in terror. Their combined screams echo as they fall into the abyss. A bright, blinding flash of light fills the space. Thud. The elevator comes to an abrupt and jarring halt. Clutching both children tightly, a trembling Seo Min-woo breathes a sigh of relief, realizing it stopped. The doors slide open, revealing a vast, dark, and unfamiliar stone passage. Exhausted and overwhelmed, Seo Min-woo collapses onto the wooden floor, still protectively holding the children. His expression hardens with grim determination as he takes in their new surroundings. Staring at the desolate maze-like stone structure, he wonders where on earth they are. A system window appears, identifying the area as the labyrinth of afterimages and instructing them to find the hidden exit. The camera pans across the cold, foreboding corridors of the endless maze. Another notification displays the remaining time, just over 20 hours. Looking at the two children, he grimly processes the reality of their situation. They're trapped in a maze. He stares up at the towering, impossible walls, questioning if this is really the right place for a test. A young confidently says, "Of course it is," explaining that Director Juhee taught her to solve mazes by always keeping her right hand on the wall. Seo Min-woo watches her take the lead, quietly remarking that she learned her lessons well. After a long time walking, he worries they should be out by now, while Ram complains about being hungry. "Ah, boss." Ram suddenly shouts excitedly, pointing toward a glowing blue portal at the end of the hall. Ram sprints towards the light, yelling that he found it, while Ayoung chases after him, claiming she found it first. Reaching the portal, Ram cheers that they can finally go eat. Seo Min-woo's eyes widen in sudden, heart-stopping realization of a potential trap. Wham! He lunges forward, grabbing Ram by his overalls just moments before the boy steps into the portal, dangling in mid-air. A confused Ram looks back and asks what's wrong. The ominous blue portal continues to swirl with an unnatural energy. A system alert flashes, warning him it's a fake exit that would trap them in a 24-hour hallucination. Watching the fake exit fade, Seo Min-woo thinks to himself that they narrowly avoided disaster. He glances at the system window with gratitude, realizing its timely warning just saved them. Turning around, he tells the children the door was a fake, much to their shared, wide-eyed disbelief. He breaks into a cold sweat, thinking, "Oh no," as he anticipates their reaction. His anxiety grows as he realizes the maze seems endless and they risk running out of time. Deciding a new approach is needed, he resolves to break through the wall, reasoning there are no rules against it. Facing the massive stone wall, he wonders how to activate his new skill. His eyes begin to glow gold as he channels his power, activating superhuman strength. A system window confirms he is using Baekram's skill, superhuman strength. A brilliant, fiery energy begins to gather in the palms of his hands. The narration explains that as the skill activated, energy flowed from his fingertips and gathered in his heart. A close-up reveals his eyes are now glowing with immense power. The force is so great his feet begin to lift slightly from the ground. The system notifies him that due to his proximity to Ram, the skill's effect is at 100%. Clenching his glowing fist, he marvels at the incredible power now overflowing through his entire body. He wonders if this is the power of a tiger, and after a famous mascot gives a thumbs up, he decides it's more than enough. Grinning with newfound confidence, he tells the kids to stay back while their stomachs grumble in agreement. He pulls back his glowing fist, preparing to unleash his full power against the labyrinth wall. A brilliant flash of golden energy erupts from the point of impact. Kaboom! His punch shatters the stone wall in a deafening explosion. Ram gasps, "Whoa!" in amazement, while Ayoung crosses her arms, unimpressed. Dust settles to reveal a massive, gaping hole torn through the labyrinth wall. Seo Min-woo stands triumphantly amidst the smoke and rubble, having cleared a path. From the darkness of the new opening, a shadowy silhouette begins to emerge. A horde of skeletons with glowing red eyes marches out, surprising Seo Min-woo. He stands stunned as both he and the children wonder how this is possible. The skeletons' glowing eyes flare with malevolent energy as they advance. A surge of power radiates from the approaching undead legion. The skeletal army breaks into a charge, swarming toward them. Scooping up both kids, Seo Min-woo yells that they're screwed and makes a frantic dash to escape. They sprint desperately through the maze's cold stone corridors. Crack! The wall ahead of them begins to fracture under an unseen force. Yelling "Charge!" he smashes through another wall, creating a new escape route. His face is a mask of pure panic as he flees from the relentless pursuit. Ram laughs with excitement at the wild ride, but Ayoung looks utterly terrified. He continues his mad dash as the horde of skeletons follows close behind. Their footsteps echo frantically as they run for their lives. Panicking, he screams about the unexpected appearance of monsters, while Ram marvels and Ayoung just sighs. As he realizes the skeletons are multiplying, a system window identifies them as weak but numerous undead monsters. Ryum asks why they're being chased, and as Seo Min-woo admits he doesn't know, Ayoung declares it's a, quote, trial they must overcome, shocking him. Overwhelmed, Seo Min-woo wants to quit, and after asking what a trial is, Ram immediately agrees. Ayoung explains that their butler, Alfredo, taught her that overcoming trials lets them become great divine beasts. which intrigues Ram. Ram excitedly imagines himself becoming a fighter jet after hearing her explanation. A-young confidently tells him anything is possible, while Seo Min-woo internally grumbles that he's the one doing all the work. He grimly observes that the skeletons seem determined to chase them to their deaths. He worries that his superhuman strength won't last forever, and questions if he can survive after it runs out. A blindingly bright light suddenly appears at the end of the dark corridor. Reaching the end of the passage, he finds himself before another imposing set of doors. He enters a vast, new chamber, filled with countless staircases, wondering how he'll ever explore such a massive place. A-young scolds him for getting distracted, and he looks down in horror to see the skeleton horde swarming the stairs below. Realizing he can't afford to be idle, he breaks into another desperate sprint. He focuses on finding the exit, only for a system alert to inform him he's found a fake one. Frustrated, he finds more and more fake exits, with the system repeatedly warning him of the traps. Overwhelmed by the endless fake doors, he panics that his strength will run out before he finds the real exit. A new system window finally appears, announcing he has found the real exit to clear the floor. He shouts in triumph upon discovering a swirling blue portal at the top of a lone staircase. He stands before the portal with the children, relieved but wary. Looking back, he sees the relentless skeleton horde has blocked their path of retreat. He yells for the children to step back, and they immediately comply. The menacing army of red-eyed skeletons closes in for the final confrontation. Placing himself between the children and the undead, he prepares to fight his way through. He unleashes a powerful, sweeping attack, carving a golden arc of energy through the skeletal ranks. From a safe distance, Ram watches in awe while A-young simply sniffs dismissively. Slashing through the horde, he shouts that he's almost reached the exit. His eyes glowing, he marvels at the incredible power he wields, confirmed by a system window to be at 100% effectiveness. With a determined grin, he resolves to push forward with all his might. He leaps into the air and delivers a devastating blow, shattering a skeleton with a blast of energy. Having cleared the path, he collapses at the top of the stairs, clutching his back in pain as the children cry out in alarm. Exhausted and in pain, Seo Min-woo realizes he must remain vigilant to protect the children. A-young suddenly dashes forward, shouting for them to watch out. She uses Seo Min-woo as a stepping stone, launching herself into the air as he cries out in protest. Asan flies through the air, unleashing a spinning kick that demolishes the skeletons around them. With a fierce expression, she obliterates the undead with a powerful blast of pink energy. Seo Min-woo stares in utter shock at the unexpected display of power. She lands perfectly on her feet, the attack concluded. A-young furiously scolds Seo Min-woo for getting distracted, causing him to apologize while Ram whispers that she's scary. He sweats, wondering in awe if this incredible power is because they are divine beasts. Seeing A-young surrounded, Ram bravely rushes to her rescue, declaring he will save her. He throws a mighty punch, shattering a skeleton's ribcage on impact. Bonk! A skull falls on his head, and he whimpers in pain. Now being carried by A-young, Ram complains that she's hurting him while she tells him not to push. A-young tries to give a reassuring speech but mixes up her words, sighing that she chose the wrong fiancé. A menacing skeleton with glowing red eyes lunges toward the distracted A-young. Her eyes widen in terror as she realizes the imminent danger. In a flash of gold, Seo Min-woo intercepts the attack, saving the children. Completely drained, he lies on the ground while the two children rest on his back. A-young glances back with concern, only to see Seo Min-woo smiling confidently from the floor. A-young's eyes sparkle with admiration, captivated by his dependable appearance. In her imagination, she sees him as the heroic Red Ranger leading a team of heroes. She quickly dismisses the thought, insisting the stupid director could never be a hero. Standing over the cleared path, Seo Min-woo checks on the kids, but A-young silently declares her loyalty is only to Captain Ju-hee. A-young angrily complains that he was too slow, leaving him to grumble about her lack of gratitude. Deciding they need to move, he grabs her by her bunny ears and starts running, much to her annoyance. He flees up the endless staircases, carrying the children as more skeletons appear. Looking over his shoulder, he pants and wonders how much farther they have to go. Their journey is visualized as a map, beginning at a single point labeled Start. The map reveals a long, treacherous path, raising doubts about whether they're even going the right way. Ram suddenly points forward, urgently telling Seo Min-woo to jump. With the skeleton horde closing in fast, Ram screams at him to hurry and leap across the gap. Seo Min-woo grits his teeth, straining to make the difficult jump. Yelling in frustration, he unleashes a massive burst of golden energy to propel himself forward. He lands just as a system window notifies him that physical contact with Ram has boosted his skills effect to 150%. A brilliant explosion of golden energy marks his powerful landing. He unleashes another spinning attack, carving through the air with golden light. He launches himself like a comet across a vast chasm, leaving shattered skeletons in his wake. Landing hard, he worries his strength wasn't quite enough for the tricky jump. Deciding to get the kids to safety first, he throws them toward the final platform. He takes a running leap, following the children across the chasm. As the children watch anxiously, he pushes himself to the limit, determined to reach the ledge. With a desperate expression, he strains to cover the final distance. He triumphantly grabs the ledge and pulls himself to safety, cheering that he made it. Just as he catches his breath, the stone platform beneath him begins to crack and crumble. He looks up in alarm as the ledge he's on breaks away from the main structure. From the platform above, the children scream his name as he realizes he's in trouble. The ground gives way completely, and he plummets into the darkness below. As he falls, Ram lunges over the edge and desperately grabs his outstretched hand. Ram's small hand clamps down firmly on Seo Min-woo's wrist, halting his fall. Ram grunts, straining with all his might to hold on. Ah-young trembles with effort, yelling for Ram to hang in there. As the skeleton horde watches, Ram yells that his tail hurts, preventing him from using his strength, while Ah-young warns that if he lets go, she will fall too. Dangling precariously, Seo Min-woo nervously asks the children to pull him up, pointing out the skeletons are climbing toward them. A system window flashes with terrible news. Superhuman strength has expired and is on a 3-hour cooldown. Seo Min-woo's face contorts in pure horror as he feels his power vanish. From the safety of the portal, Ram cries out, "Boss," while Ah-young anxiously yells, "Stupid director, are you okay?" Ugh, a skeletal hand grabs his ankle, and Seo Min-woo grunts in pain as the children look on, horrified. As more skeletons claw their way up, he yells for the kids to get to the door immediately. With a manic grin, Seo Min-woo bids the skeletons a final, sarcastic farewell as the children wave goodbye. He gives the skeletons one last, defiant gesture before disappearing into the portal. A brilliant flash of blue light signifies their successful escape. A system window announces they've cleared Arena Floor 1 and achieved an all-time high score, with rewards now being calculated. Another notification reveals they've achieved 1% progress in inheriting Divine Beast preschool shares. Ding tilde. In a quiet room, a phone lights up with a notice from manager Si Ryong. An older man states that he's sure everyone will agree, and a woman confirms the opposition has already left. At the Divine Beast preschool, a narrator explains that many students have recently departed. A somber image shows several disheartened children leaving the school. A woman weeps, lamenting that they should have taken Ram with them. The older man sternly tells her not to be weak, insisting the arena lift is the key to winning a long war. She protests that it's too sudden and that she isn't mentally prepared for this. He grimly admits that he hadn't expected the arena to open so quickly either. A flashback shows a happy boy telling his mother his teacher praised him. The man's face is shadowed as he wonders which child will be chosen for the upcoming meeting. Standing on a balcony with resolve, he gives an order to inform manager Si Ryong that they will participate. A woman in a business suit sprints down a hallway in a panic. She runs desperately, pleading internally for the news she heard to be a lie. A small child with cat ears informs her that Ah-mung and Ram went up the elevator with the director. Her expression hardens as she thinks that the arena is no place to survive without preparation. She frets over whether they went by mistake and regrets not being more cautious. Filled with dread, she anxiously wonders if they will be able to make it back alive. The ornate elevator begins its descent. As the indicator moves, she finds it impossible that they could have cleared the floor so quickly. She stares in disbelief, refusing to believe they are already returning. The elevator doors slide open dramatically. The doors reveal an exhausted Seo Min-woo on the floor, with Ah-young and Ram gleefully riding on his back. Wah! She lets out a scream of utter shock at the unbelievable sight. Ah-young cheerfully greets teacher Si Ryong, and Ram exclaims it was fun, while Seo Min-woo begs them to stop playing. Teacher Seryong observes them with a complicated expression, realizing the situation is not what she imagined. From off-panel, a voice calls out for the kids. Teacher Seryong joyfully embraces A-young as she leaps into her arms, leaving Seo Min-woo dejectedly on the floor. The scene transitions to the Divine Beast preschool exterior on a bright, sunny day. A final thought concludes that the arena operates beyond the realm of common sense. Seo Min-woo sits alone, deep in somber thought after the ordeal. He reasons that the Divine Beast preschool must be safe, or the system wouldn't have given him a survival skill. Overwhelmed, he covers his face, admitting he never realized the job would be life-threatening. Teacher Seryong arrives at his door to check on him. He claims to be fine, but internally feels like he's dying. She enters his office, offering pain relief patches for the leg cramp he mentioned. The two sit in silence in the vast, dimly lit office. Teacher Seryong looks around, puzzled by a mysterious light filling the room. Seo Min-woo glares at his contract, grimly questioning if he was tricked into a fraudulent agreement. Seo Min-woo furiously accuses her of fraud for never mentioning the arena in the contract. Teacher Seryong bows deeply, offering a sincere and immediate apology. He's completely thrown off by her quick apology, admitting he didn't expect it. She quietly explains that she simply wanted him, the previous director's son, to inherit the preschool. Seo Min-woo presses her about what she muttered, but Teacher Seryong quickly dismisses it as nothing. He leans in, demanding to know how many secrets she's keeping about the portal and other dangers. Apologizing again, she tells him he can still void the contract if he wishes. Seo Min-woo is stunned into silence by her unexpected offer to let him leave. A system window flashes in his mind, reminding him of his 1% progress toward inheriting the school. He realizes that by clearing all the floors, the entire building could become his. He recalls his past life as a delivery person, dreaming of an impossible goal, becoming a building owner in Gangnam. The city's reflection in his determined eye reveals the depth of his ambition. Back in the present, he weighs the life-threatening risks against the incredible reward. With a gleeful shout, he imagines making it rain money, his greed overwhelming his fear. He daydreams of lounging on a pile of gold, convinced the system will make clearing 100 floors easy. However, a mental warning reminds him that another system failure could result in a death penalty. A sly, calculating grin spreads across his face as a new plan forms. He slams his hands on the desk, suddenly addressing her as Manager Kim. He declares his disappointment, leaving a confused Manager Kim to ask what he means. He explodes with manufactured rage, accusing her of suggesting they abandon their precious children. She looks utterly baffled by his outburst, questioning his talk of voiding the contract. With a dramatic flourish, he declares that he is one with the preschool and its director. He passionately questions how she could ask him to run away from something that is a part of him. He gestures emphatically, his performance reaching its peak. He shouts a definitive no. Rejecting the very idea of leaving, he vows that he will not avoid any danger that comes their way. Full of righteous energy, he stands firm in his newfound, albeit fake, resolve. Manager Kim looks up at him from the couch, taken in by his powerful declaration. She bows her head, realizing she has completely misjudged his character. She reflects on her belief that he only accepted the director role to honor director I.M. Joo-hee's last wish. Clenching her fists, she realizes his commitment runs deeper than she ever imagined. Her eyes burn with newfound respect as she fiercely declares her full support for him. Seo Min-woo sweats, offering a slightly awkward smile, his manipulation a success. Manager Kim resolves to convince the board chairman and parents to trust the director's judgment. Changing topics, she asks the director to take over the children's class while she makes lunch. She slyly describes the next class as a nature experience in a small backyard, piquing his confusion. A voice announces the afternoon's nature experience class as the scene shifts to an ornate door. From above, Seo Min-woo watches the children head through the doors, assuming it's just a normal backyard. He rallies the children to follow him, mentioning they need to go to the World Tree. The massive, gilded doors swing open dramatically. They reveal a stunning, magical forest with a rainbow arcing over a grand structure. Seo Min-woo stares in disbelief, realizing this is far more than a small backyard. He is confronted with the sight of a colossal, floating island centered around a magnificent tree. He questions how a Korean preschool could possess such a landscape, wondering if he's even on Earth. Looking up in awe, He finally understands what Manager Kim meant by World Tree. A title card confirms his dawning horror. The World Tree? Sunlight streams through the canopy of the impossibly vast and ancient tree. The tree's bark is described as being as hard as steel, exuding the scent of life itself. It stands with overwhelming majesty, a testament to its ancient power. The camera pans up the colossal trunk, which towers so high its top is lost in the clouds. Seo Min-woo calls over a child named Rak-hee, who responds with a curious "Ba'a." He asks Rak-hee if the colossal tree is the legendary world tree from games, which the child happily confirms. Seo Min-woo feels utterly exhausted by the constant surprises, while Rak-hee asks from off-panel what's wrong with the director. He erupts in frustration, questioning why such a thing exists in a preschool, as Rak-hee explains it's for easy travel to Earth. Rak-hee adds that without it, they would need disposable portals, which are incredibly expensive. Realizing the tree is essentially a free ticket, Seo Min-woo is surprised by a system notification for an unlimited subscription service. He asks Rak-hee what planet he's from, only to be confused when he proudly claims to be from the Arsen continent. Overwhelmed, Seo Min-woo rubs his forehead, desperately trying to make sense of the situation. A memory surfaces of a smiling woman's funeral portrait, adorned with white flowers. Watching the strange children, he wonders how that woman ever became the director of such an unbelievable preschool. He muses that understanding her connection to this place might explain why she abandoned him as a child. How? His somber thoughts are violently interrupted as a child with tiger ears tackles him to the ground. The tiger child gleefully rides on his back, shouting "giddy up" and pointing toward their destination. Seo Min-woo sternly tells him to get down, causing the boy to pout with a disappointed "aw." As a girl with silver hair watches with crossed arms, the tiger child whines about his comrade, confusing Seo Min-woo. Sigh. The tiger child whines, draped over his shoulder like a deflated balloon. Suddenly, the tiger child's eyes light up with renewed excitement. Seo Min-woo mistakes the child for Siwoo, but the tiger child quickly dismisses the idea. The tiger child then misidentifies the silver-haired girl as Private, leaving her exasperated and Seo Min-woo questioning the little rascals. The boy frantically points at the world tree, repeatedly slapping Seo Min-woo, who thinks the hits are worse than A-young's kicks. He clarifies he's talking about the Black Rada, a name that leaves Seo Min-woo completely lost. A small squirrel-like creature, identified as a ratatosk, scurries up the tree trunk. As Seo Min-woo realizes it's just a squirrel, the other children excitedly run toward it, calling out its name. Ah-young and another child joyfully call for the cute Rada to come down from the tree. The tiger child peeks out from behind Seo Min-woo's leg, warily observing the wild squirrel. His eyes sparkle as he asks to take the squirrel home, prompting Seo Min-woo to dryly note it's an animal wanting to raise an animal. Seo Min-woo smiles, thinking that for a moment, it almost feels like a normal preschool. His peaceful thought is broken by a meow, and he turns to see a small girl with a teddy bear. A nervous sweat breaks as he realizes her unsettling meows are not the sounds of a child talking. Miu's eyes flash with a predatory glow as she clutches her bear, and Seo Min-woo recognizes the look of a hunter eyeing its prey. Her chilling meow echoes as her eyes gleam with dangerous intensity. Holding Miu, he frantically asks if she's looking at the squirrel as food, but she only replies, "Meow." He panics and begs her to say no, instantly regretting his belief that the preschool was in any way ordinary. Miu looks up with wide, deceptively innocent eyes. She thinks of the squirrel as a friend, but Seo Min-woo mishears and disastrously tries to correct her pronunciation to mouse. Her expression instantly turns menacing at the word mouse, and Seo Min-woo screams in panic, realizing his fatal error. He yells, "Wait!" as Miu suddenly goes limp, preparing to pounce from his arms. He lunges desperately to stop her, shouting for her to stop. Seo Min-woo screams for A-young and Rak-hee to intercept Miu before she reaches the squirrel. A-young and Rak-hee are thrown off balance, completely stunned by Miu's sudden, high-speed attack. A dizzy A-young stumbles, wondering what just happened as Miu disappears from sight. Miu streaks through the air, a tiny missile closing in on her target. The terrified Ratatosk is caught in her shadow, frozen in fear. Suddenly, a massive beam of purple energy cuts through the air. The energy erupts in a powerful explosion on the ground. After the blast, a grand stone fountain lies smoking and shattered. The children stare in shock at the devastation, while a defeated Seo Min-woo collapses to the floor. A fist clenches, shattering the stone ground where it rests, revealing the source of the powerful intervention. With a determined look, Myuya climbs a tree, muttering that the object she was chasing is gone. Sploosh! A small furry creature lands in a pool of water. HMPH, Myuya puffs out her cheeks, clearly annoyed by the escape. Seo Min-woo watches as Myuya faceplants on the ground, thinking to himself, what a shame. Overwhelmed, Seo Min-woo considers the scene a disaster and doubts his ability to control the children. Just then, Si-ryung appears in the doorway, announcing that the snacks are ready. The children immediately swarm Si-ryung, excitedly begging for snacks, with one girl asking for two. The scene fades to a bright sky, as a voice wonders if something happened. Exhausted on the steps of a grand gazebo, Seo Min-woo tells Si-ryung he's drained and needs a moment. The scene transitions to the warm, evening light, hitting a large, modern house. Si-ryung tells the tired-looking Seo Min-woo that she'll take the children home so he can get some rest. Visibly relieved, Seo Min-woo leans against a pillar and gratefully thanks her. He asks about two other children, Rak-hee and Kane, and Si-ryung confirms they will join her via a portal. Si-ryung gathers the group, telling them it's time to go home and get on the bus. The boy, Si-woo, tugs on her sleeve, informing teacher Si-ryung that his sister Miu hasn't returned yet. Suddenly, Myuya appears at the top of the stairs in a brilliant flash of light, shouting triumphantly. As golden light washes over him, Seo Min-woo looks up, with a weary, dazed expression. The view expands to reveal a magnificent gazebo set within a lush, magical forest under a rainbow. A girl with bunny ears and a boy with tiger stripes run gleefully alongside Seo Min-woo. Leading the group of children through the woods, he realizes this is no mere yard, but an entire forest. Stunned, Seo Min-woo sweats nervously, questioning how this could possibly be considered a small backyard. He continues to lead the children deeper into the seemingly endless, sun-dappled forest. An incredible aerial view reveals they are on a massive floating island with a colossal tree at its heart. Back in the ordinary world, a small child waits patiently by a yellow school bus. Myuya clutches the straps of her backpack, the moment feeling heavy. She pauses and looks back over her shoulder, a silent, determined look on her face. In a moment of panic, Seo Min-woo realizes his simple choice has led to an unforeseen incident. A child's hand reaches out as a determined voice declares, "We are!" A title card introduces Beast Hero, as the Tiger Boy declares he is red, and the bunny girl proclaims she is pink. Pink spots skeletons, and Myuya asks her brother, Siwo, what a trial is, to which he ominously replies, "It's that thing." With a furious battle cry, Pink launches herself through the air to attack the bad skeletons. She unleashes her powerful hectopascal kick directly on a skeleton's head. Yeah, her kick connects but sends her flying back, only to be caught by two other boys. In the ensuing chaos, Red desperately tries to wake a large turtle, calling out for Bobo Skeleton. Red sweats, seemingly hearing the turtle ask for just 5 more minutes of sleep. From the darkness of its shell, the turtle's eyes suddenly gleam with light. Startled, Red watches as a small child wearing a turtle shell backpack leaps into the air shouting, "Playground!" The turtle child lands in the sandbox with a massive splash, leaving Red utterly confused. Standing in the playground, Red looks around, completely bewildered by the turn of events. His confusion suddenly melts into a wide, mischievous grin as he taunts, "Yeah, you missed!" Pink lands perfectly on the ground after her attack misses its target. Siwoo taunts that she couldn't land a single hit, and asks if her aim is just bad, causing Pink to shriek in frustration. Fed up, Pink rallies Red, announcing it's time for their finishing move. The other children look on, confused, as Pink says they'll use that one from earlier. She clarifies she means the move the director used, which makes Red visibly nervous. Pink's eyes widen with determination as she begins to recall the specific moment. Red asks what's wrong, triggering a memory of Pink complaining her mouth was stuck shut while he had the same problem. In the flashback, Red strains with all his might, his face turning bright red from the effort. Roar. A phantom tiger erupts from Red as he yells that he won't say it. Back in the present, the other children are baffled, wondering if this bizarre scene is also part of the trial. The tiger child clenches his fist, lamenting the sad destiny of Red. A young approaches Ram, suggesting blue for cowardice suits him better, but he insists he's red for passion. Thinking of Seo Min-woo, Young argues that Red is more dependable. Young yells that he's blue, and Ram sticks his tongue out, retorting that he's going to be red. Two children with cat ears watch the argument escalate from a distance. A woman watches the children bicker while she muses on the unsettling movements in the yokai world. Another woman agrees, mentioning incidents in their patrol areas, but their serious talk is interrupted by the children shouting. The second woman smiles warmly as the shouts of "Red" continue to echo from the playground. An unseen person yells, "Bakeram," causing him to burst into tears and blame his big sister for starting the fight. Elsewhere, a boy with green hair joyfully slides down a playground slide. The scene shifts to a lavish, empty bedroom under a starry sky. A refreshed Seo Min-woo dries his hair, amazed by his new accommodations. He joyfully collapses onto the luxurious bed, declaring it's on another level. He luxuriates in the softness, feeling as if he's lying on a fluffy flock of sheep. He contrasts this with his old semi-basement apartment, where a dog used to watch him through the window. Overcome with emotion, he sighs contentedly, believing this is true happiness. A breeze billows the curtains, revealing the full moon in the night sky. He reflects that the day passed in a blur, flashing back to the skeletons he faced. He muses that his missing mother was the director of a preschool for divine beast children. He remembers the dangerous portal and the life-or-death arena. While he initially just wanted the inheritance, he admits his curiosity is growing. His thoughts fixate on the one question that remains: why did she abandon me? Reaching for a vision of his mother, he wonders if there was a justifiable reason. He questions if his search for answers is just a product of his own pathetic self-esteem. The moment of introspection is broken by his phone ringing on the nightstand. He picks up the cracked phone, surprised to see a call from Yu Chang-sik. Answering the call, his friend Yu Chang-sik mockingly asks the building owner for chicken. Seo Min-woo explains that he feels scammed and is going to die, confusing his friend. He continues his somber conversation, seen from outside the window. After finishing his explanation, he grabs a jacket from the closet. When questioned, he admits he signed the contract, but complains it wasn't explained properly. With a strained smile, he tells his friend that the contract mysteriously burned. Yu Chang-sik explodes in a tirade, calling him an idiot. But Seo Min-woo calmly denies being the one who burned it. He sits back, explaining mysteriously that such things just happen there. Yu Chang-sik asks why his voice has suddenly dropped. Seo Min-woo recalls a drunken conversation where his friend vowed he'd go to prison to own a Gangnam building. Reminding his lawyer friend of his profession, Seo Min-woo points out the absurdity of that vow. He grips the phone tightly and counters, "How about 30 years? As Yu Chang-sik hesitates, Seo Min-woo wonders why he's even worried about that. Standing resolute, he decides that the opportunity before him is worth risking his life. He mentions the preschool has an elevator, which they call the arena. Gasp! Suddenly, he's unable to speak, wheezing as if an invisible force is choking him. Frustrated, he struggles against the magical gag, wanting to finish his sentence. A system message warns him that the arena disclosure prohibition clause is active, silencing him completely. He exhales in relief as the choking sensation finally subsides. Changing the subject, he tells Yu Chang-sik he'll be busy for a while, prompting concern from his friend. After promising to keep in touch, he ends the call. He sits on the bed, noting it's 10 p.m., and concluding that money is the root of all evil. He turns his thoughts to the arena, questioning why children would be sent to such a dangerous place. He theorizes that it must be to teach them about the survival of the fittest. Seo Min-woo recalls the children's powerful parents: an ex-general, a rich family, and a hospital director. He panics, imagining their wealthy, influential parents suing him into oblivion if a child gets hurt. Resigned to his fate, he resolves to be extremely careful since he must take them to the arena. He sits on the bed, firming his resolve to survive and find a way to get rich. With a determined glare, he blames his mother for his predicament, not the allure of money. Bang! A loud knock at his bedroom door suddenly startles him. He turns toward the sound, wondering if manager Kim has come to see him. The grand, ornate door slowly creaks open on its own. He steps out of his room into a vast, dimly lit corridor. The long, empty hallway stretches before him into deep shadow. A bead of sweat rolls down his face as he looks around nervously. Wearing simple sweats and slippers, he steps cautiously into the opulent space. He calls out into the enormous hall, demanding that whoever is hiding reveal themselves. Bang! Another startling sound echoes from across the hall, and his eyes widen in alarm. He whips his head around, trying to pinpoint the source of the noise. His gaze settles on the large, arched windows lining the far wall. He notices a distant door, wondering if it leads to the garden. Standing alone in the massive room, he remains on high alert. He squints, peering into the darkness for any sign of movement. Crash. The main doors burst open with explosive force. A blur of motion streaks through the shattered doorway. He's thrown off his feet by the powerful shockwave of the intrusion. Ugh. He grunts as he hits the polished floor hard. Shadowy figure appears amidst the dust and debris high above. The creature, a massive beast with claws, lunges from the balcony toward him. It lands with a heavy thud, its claws narrowly missing him. He stares in disbelief at the monstrous creature that has appeared before him. A fearsome, mole-like beast with a tiny crown and glowing red eyes emerges from the smoke. A system window identifies the beast as a danger level 4, 1-star king mole. An emergency quest appears. Eliminate the beast within 40 minutes to earn an M-grade random box. In shock, he wonders why the beast is here as it lets out a terrifying roar. The king mole charges forward in a streak of red energy. Ah! He screams as the charging beast barrels past him. He scrambles away, shouting in disbelief at the insanity of the preschool. He flees as the furious king mole turns to pursue him. He glances back in terror, his face pale with fear. He screams as the beast swipes at him with its massive claws. The attack misses, gouging deep marks into the floor. His mind reels in panic as he realizes the true danger he's in. He decides he needs to escape the beast and get out of the preschool immediately. A monstrous red aura flares up behind him as the king mole prepares another attack. The scene shifts to a tranquil, mountainous landscape in the divine realm. A grand, traditional palace complex is identified as Mushimeng. The view pans across the misty, serene peaks surrounding the palace. Inside a quiet study, a person is seen writing at a desk. A hand gracefully moves a calligraphy brush across a scroll. An elderly, white-haired man with wise blue eyes is introduced as Do-san. A sudden splash disturbs the surface of a placid lily pond. A system message announces that the highest score in history has been achieved on Arena Floor 1. Do-san stands by the pond, stunned that someone not only cleared the first floor but set a new record. Do-san observes that Seo Min-woo moves as if he can see through the arena's design. As the sole surviving creator, Do-san admits even he can no longer predict the arena's tasks. He realizes with awe that the arena has begun evolving on its own. He walks through the luminous halls of Mushimeng, lost in thought. Back at his desk, he contemplates Seo Min-woo's apparent fearlessness in the face of death. He sets down his brush, concluding that perhaps Seo Min-woo is the key to preventing a war. A kneeling attendant addresses Do-san as master strategist, awaiting his orders. The attendant suggests announcing Seo Min-woo's incredible achievements. Do-san sternly denies the request, ordering all arena information to be kept confidential. The attendant questions if this secrecy extends even to their allies. Do-san foresees that revealing the information will lead to an all-out war with their enemies. He explains his strategy. To deceive the enemy, they must first deceive their allies about Seo Min-woo's true potential. Therefore, their allies must be kept in the dark to maintain the secret. He sits resolute, knowing this deception is necessary to win the coming war. Do-san orders the attendant to silence the board and parents, and to summon the White Tiger Lord at dawn. He acknowledges the command. The White Tiger Lord is introduced, one of the 12 powerful military lords. Do-san reflects that the White Tiger Lord is a trusted friend whose orders are absolute in wartime. He resolves to prevent any background checks on Seo Min-woo and announces he will make a trip to Earth, telling his attendant to prepare. A sudden sound cuts through the quiet study. The scene shifts to a quiet residential building on Earth at night. A figure in traditional footwear steps onto a polished floor. Do-san enters a familiar room, noting it's unchanged but questioning why the lights are on. He muses on Seo Min-woo's character, believing he must be a man of great integrity. He reflects that Seo Min-woo carries the previous director's noble will, not greed, and wishes he could help him. Suddenly, his eyes widen in complete shock at a sight before him. Wham! He witnesses Seo Min-woo being brutally mauled by the king mole. The beast's jaws clamp down, and Seo Min-woo cries out in agony. With a powerful jerk, the king mole hurls him across the hall. Do-san watches, stunned, wondering how an ordinary human can fight a monster. He sees Seo Min-woo is fighting with his bare hands, risking his very life. He's astounded by the sheer strength of Seo Minwoo's willpower. The mole strikes again with its tail, but Seo Minwoo manages to evade the blow. Bloodied but defiant, he grits his teeth and prepares for the next assault. Dosen observes from the balcony, impressed that he would engage in such a dangerous battle so late at night. He looks on as the beast unleashes another sweeping tail attack. In a flurry of motion, Seo Minwoo expertly dodges the barrage of deadly strikes. Dosen smiles, realizing this incredible display is fitting for the son of the legendary former director I.M. Joo-hee. A vision of his mother appears, silhouetted against a vast, starry cosmos. She was the one who saved the World Tree's seed and moved the arena to Earth. Blah. A surge of power emanates from Seo Minwoo as he lets out a fierce cry. Seeing this, Dosen's hand crackles with divine energy as he prepares to intervene. He casts a spell, not to attack, but to cloak Seo Minwoo in mana concealment. He explains that the spell will hide his inner power from nearly everyone in the divine and yokai realms. This will prevent others from gauging his true strength, ensuring he won't be easily dismissed. He notes that Seo Minwoo currently possesses no mana of his own. As Seo Minwoo faces the beast, Dosen silently vows to support him from the shadows. Bam! The beast lunges again, but Dosen now watches with serene confidence. Monster's attack slams into the floor with devastating force. Huff! Huff! Exhausted, Seo Minwoo curses his inability to escape and desperately wishes for help. He questions how the beast can be so fast, wondering if his own strength is insufficient. He watches the king mole look around quizzically, wondering why the beast isn't focused on him. The king mole continues sniffing the air, seemingly searching for something specific. He realizes the beast's eyesight must be poor, and that it relies on hearing and smell to hunt. A cunning smile forms as he realizes he can exploit this weakness to defeat the mole and claim the reward. A retro game-style graphic illustrates his plan. Use the World Tree scent to mask his location and ambush the monster. The pixelated simulation shows him successfully defeating the beast and obtaining a random prize box. Putting his plan into action, he sprints away, taunting the king mole to follow him to the garden. The scene shifts to the serene preschool garden, showcasing a large tree and a tranquil pond. He narrowly dodges a powerful slash from the king mole as he runs through the garden. Splash! He leaps into the pond to wash away his scent and hide from the beast. He sinks beneath the water's surface, holding his breath to stay concealed. Underwater, he struggles to remain hidden as his lungs begin to burn. A ringing phone he threw earlier successfully distracts the confused king mole at the water's edge. While the beast is preoccupied with the noise, he carefully sneaks out of the water. The enraged king mole smashes the phone to pieces, giving him a clean opening. He stands up with a relieved smile, his clever diversion having worked perfectly. He mourns his shattered phone, thanking it for its 5 years of service as it seems to reply, "Let's go, master." A sly grin crosses his face as he begins searching for an improvised weapon. He picks up a teddy bear whose pull-string voice meekly says, "I love you." He drops the useless toy by his feet in disappointment. With a strained and terrified smile, he realizes he is completely screwed. The king mole roars, its massive jaws filled with sharp teeth opening wide for an attack. "Are you crazy?" he screams as the beast slams him into the ground with overwhelming force. He is sent crashing into the stone, which shatters on impact. Ugh. Battered and bleeding, he grits his teeth against the searing pain. The scene transitions through a rustle of green leaves in the aftermath. He lies defeated on the ground, enveloped in a faint swirling energy. Huff, huff. Lying exhausted on the grass, a system notification appears before him. A system timer reveals his superhuman strength buff has only 10 seconds remaining. His eyes widen in panic as he realizes his borrowed power is about to run out. He grabs a fallen branch, telling himself to get it together for one last stand. Forcing himself up, he resolves that he cannot die here before achieving his dream of getting rich. He snaps the branch in half, fashioning a crude stake while acknowledging that escape is impossible. With only 5 seconds left, he defiantly shouts at the beast, "Over here! Come at me!" His eyes burn with determination as he stares down the roaring king mole. The beast charges with blinding speed as the timer ticks down to 4 seconds. With just 3 seconds left, he slides under the charging mole in a risky maneuver. The king mole leaps into the air to crush him as the timer hits 2 seconds. His fist clenches around the wooden stake, glowing with immense power. Ah! He screams, channeling all his remaining strength into a final, desperate attack. The final second ticks down in a flash of brilliant light. An explosive impact rings out as his attack finds its mark. He drives the sharpened stake upward with a powerful, glowing thrust. The stake pierces through the king mole's lower jaw with devastating force. His attack drives straight through the monster's head, ending the fight instantly. The defeated beast is sent flying backward, its body already starting to glow. The king mole's form dissolves into particles of light and disintegrates. Sparkling blue mana stones rain down where the monster once stood. With glowing eyes, he sees the notification confirming the emergency quest cleared. He receives a D-grade random box as his reward, with a prompt to open it now. Exhausted, Seo Minwoo scrambles to collect the glowing blue mana stones left behind by the beast. Panting heavily, his eyes burn with a fierce orange glow, showing the toll of the battle. A system notification declares his superhuman strength has expired. He collapses, moaning that he's dying and can't move. Lying on the grass, he remembers the D-grade random box he received as a reward. The system prompts him to open the D-grade random box now. Too exhausted to care, his trembling hand selects no, deciding to open it later. He bargains with himself for just 5 more minutes of rest before passing out on the lawn. As he lies there, he notices a faint, sparkling light in the grass nearby and wonders what it is. A system window identifies the item as an E-grade magic stone, a gem containing nature's power. He stares at the glowing blue crystal, questioning if it's really a magic stone. He slowly crawls toward the prize, figuring it must be expensive and comically dubbing the monster a golden mole. Clenching the stone in his fist, its energy pulsing, he decides to ask Manager Kim what it is. Suddenly, a massive pillar of blue light erupts from the stone and engulfs him completely. Ah! He screams in agony as the raw power surges through his entire body. A notification announces a special accomplishment for successfully hunting a monster for the first time. The brilliant beam of light shoots into the night sky, illuminating the entire preschool grounds. The next morning, Seo Minwoo stands inside, examining the faintly glowing magic stone he now holds. The scene shifts as a woman's voice confirms she is Siwoo's mother. A woman in a suit agrees to schedule a consultation, and a disembodied voice thanks the manager. She holds a glowing cube, startled as she asks what new directive she has received. A message from the cube states that all information related to the arena is now strictly confidential. A second directive arrives. Lord White Tiger has ordered that director Seo Minwoo will oversee all arena ascensions without interference, shocking her. A voice explains that since Director Seo cleared the first floor on day 1, the children's interest is only natural. She walks away, acknowledging the order, as the voice notes that the atmosphere has grown ominous lately. Pausing, she turns and asks if something has happened. She's informed that a yokai was discovered on Earth, and that Bobo's family was dispatched to handle it. She clenches her fist, sobered by the news of a yokai appearing. The voice on the other end warns her to be careful, signing off as Se-ryong. Se-ryong contemplates the grave news, realizing Earth is no longer a safe zone. As she approaches a large door, she muses that the director has proven himself, making her efforts to persuade the parents and committee unnecessary. A faint smile crosses her lips as she concludes that the new director is handling everything himself. She opens the door and looks down from a balcony, shocked to see the grand hall below utterly destroyed. Seeing Seo Minwoo standing on a far balcony, she stares in disbelief at the wreckage. She screams his title in a panic. "Director?" Finding the doors locked, she frantically bangs on them, shouting his name again. The door opens to reveal a bandaged Seo Minwoo, who yawns and casually asks why she's at work so early. Appalled by the destruction, she asks what happened. He calmly explains a monster invaded, and she scolds him for not calling. She insists the preschool's guardian spirit should have stopped it, but he says the spirit is slacking, cutting to a tiny squirrel in boxing gloves. Se-ryong stares at his injuries, wondering what kind of intense battle could have left him covered in blood. As he starts to explain, she interrupts, wildly guessing he fought a golem that fell from the sky. He tries again only for her to interrupt with an even wilder guess, a flying Balrog. He panics and shouts that a Balrog definitely should not be flying into a preschool. Her eyes widen as she spots the glowing magic stone in his hand reflected in her pupil. She explains that as an elf, she is sensitive to mana and begins scanning his body for any traces of it. Her scan reveals absolutely nothing, while he just complains about his shoulder feeling stiff. She reasons that she couldn't sense any mana because she initially, and wrongly, assumed he was an ordinary human. She comes to a startling conclusion. Her own skills are simply too weak to perceive his immense hidden power. Convinced he's hiding tremendous skills, she decides it's only natural for the son of the powerful former director to be extraordinary. She bows deeply, apologizing for her failure to handle the incident, but he reassures her, glad the children are safe. Touched, she realizes that despite his own serious injuries, his first concern was for the children. Seryong has a sudden realization, wondering about his true motives. She considers that Seo Min-woo might know the previous director, I.M. Ju-hee, died from a yokai curse and may also seek revenge. Seryong connects his rapid arena ascent and recent monster fighting to this potential motivation. A memory of a boy screaming for his mother surfaces as she thinks he might be just like her. With renewed resolve, she decides she must lend her strength to Director Seo to help him defeat the yokai. Sang-ryong tells the bandaged Director Seo that since he's busy, she will find an education teacher for the preschool. He asks if she means someone who understands the preschool's unique situation, which she confirms. Yawning, Seo Min-woo agrees to look for a candidate as well. She notes his connection to divine beasts, and they agree to both search and hire the best person for the job. Seo Min-woo thinks a degree would suffice, but his inner thoughts reveal a preference for a patient, animal-loving, prestigious university graduate. He heads off to pick up the children, and Seryong decides to join him to buy ingredients for lunch. Hearing about food, a suddenly energized Seo Min-woo turns and excitedly declares, "Beef." He daydreams of A++ grade beef, while Seryong watches with a flat expression. Holding up her hand, Seryong states she'll pretend she didn't hear his request. As she walks away, Seo Min-woo follows, insisting that she did hear him, but she continues to deny it. He points out her use of informal speech as proof, chasing her up the stairs while she ignores him. This scene shifts to the exterior of a large, modern hospital. A swirling blue portal materializes in the air above the hospital grounds. The portal crackles with energy, darkening into a deep vortex. A silhouetted figure begins to emerge from the swirling gateway. The figure lands softly on the rooftop. A woman with fox ears and a tail observes her new surroundings, her eyes glowing as she confirms, "So this is Earth." A broom sweeps through rubble, cleaning up a messy floor. Back at the preschool, Seo Min-woo and Seryong are cleaning up the aftermath of a recent battle. Seryong tells the director that she will finish cleaning and asks him to go pick up the children. She informs him that she has scheduled everything for the next week and that he will be in charge of the class schedule after that. He asks about the day's agenda, and she overwhelms him with a long, chaotic list of tasks, including conferences and financial reports. Exhausted, Seo Min-woo covers his face as she warns him it's too much without a guidance counselor, a fact he now desperately realizes. He agrees and walks out a nearby door. Outside, he stretches, complaining about his heavy workload and the unknown timing of the next arena quest. He tiredly walks along the sidewalk toward a yellow van. A system window appears, announcing he has cleared Arena Floor 1 and achieved an all-time high score. As the system calculates his reward, Seo Min-woo watches the floating screen, noting that it's taking a while. The evaluation completes with a prompt to check, and he wryly comments, "Speak of the devil." Smiling with relief, he wonders what kind of amazing reward could have taken so long to process. His eyes light up as he excitedly imagines receiving a great treasure of gold and silver. The system window updates with an unexpected reward. A girl named Jo A-young unlocks a new ability. A brilliant light flashes. Seo Min-woo stares in utter confusion at the bizarre notification. The scene cuts to Jo A-young, the bunny-eared girl, executing a fierce kick as a window explains her new meteor kick ability. Her eyes widen in shock, as confused by her newfound power as he was. The ground shatters beneath the force of her kick. The kick sends an elderly butler figure flying, and she screams out the name, Alfredo. In a dramatic flashback, Alfredo declares he has no regrets, while she tearfully begs him to hang on. Back in the present, Jo A-young enthusiastically calls for the other children to gather around. Another child excitedly asks what's happening, getting the answer, yogurt. Wah! Jo A-young holds up a crudely drawn book, proudly announcing the start of the first yogurt conference, as the other children look on in awe. In the living room, the children cheer, as Jo A-young raises the book high. She presents a child's drawing of a man, clearly meant to be Seo Min-woo. A child with small horns exclaims, "I like him," And Jo A-young enthusiastically agrees, I like the boss too. A child with silver hair asks if the dummy director seems clumsy, urging another to think carefully as Jo A-young dances on a table. A hand reaches toward the scene, its owner questioning what is happening. The silver-haired child declares that he doesn't like Seo Min-woo either. He claims Seo Min-woo lacks class and strength, but Jo A-young passionately disagrees. He listens with a skeptical, questioning expression. Flustered, he retorts that she complained about the director first, insisting it's different when he says it. Jo A-young demands to know how it's different and how he could know about Seo Min-woo's strength, stammering that she saw it herself, but he just calls her a liar. She points to a tiger-eared boy, declaring, That's right, Ram saw it with me. Ram leans in and whispers his main complaint. The boss doesn't provide enough snacks. Ram points out that Jo A-young doesn't care about snacks, since she doesn't eat them. A sleepy child in a turtle shell, Bobo, yawns and agrees, adding that the food has also gotten worse. Ram and Jo A-young gasp, realizing if Bobo is waking up, the problem must be serious. The children lament their former cook's departure as a tray of vegetable dishes is shown, with one child quietly admitting they like it. Ram pounds the table, shouting that the food is bad and he needs meat. Another child asks why the topic suddenly shifted to the boss, while Ram continues chanting for meat. Jo A-young decides to explain, starting with what happened that morning. She begins her story with a crayon drawing of her morning sparring session with Alfredo. Her drawing depicts her landing a knockout blow, explaining she felt a surge of power and sent Alfredo flying. Confused, Ram scratches his head and asks what's so strange about that. Jo A-young explains she's never beaten Alfredo before and begins to relay what he told her afterward. In a flashback, a bruised Alfredo gives a thumbs up, telling her she's grown stronger from the arena and shouldn't worry. Whoa. The other children listen to her story with awe. Jo A-young proudly concludes that it's all thanks to the dummy director that she's become stronger. Her triumphant expression fades into confusion as she has a sudden realization. The silver-haired child scoffs, observing that Seo Min-woo doesn't seem related to director Joo-hee at all. His words strike Jo A-young like a bolt of lightning. She recalls initially disliking Seo Min-woo because he wasn't as good as director Joo-hee, but then remembers hearing he was her son. She muses that he isn't exactly stupid, just more of a dummy. Another child points out that she's the one who called him a dummy, leaving Jo A-young speechless. Ram assumes she's upset about the food, but she denies it. As she tries to explain herself, Seo Min-woo appears in the library behind her. Overhearing their conversation, Seo Min-woo quietly affirms that food is indeed important. He thinks about the sleepy children, understanding their need to be fed well, just as he hates getting up. He turns, having understood their plight, and comes face to face with a shocked Jo A-young. As she floats in panic, she asks when he arrived, and he calmly replies, just now. She panics, worrying he misunderstood her and that she only dislikes him a tiny bit now. She tries to call out to the director, but Ram and another child joyfully run to greet him. In horror, Jo A-young realizes it now looks like she was the only one bad-mouthing him. I've been wronged, she screams, as Seo-young announces that Siwoo's mother is arriving soon. Seo Min-woo and Seo-young walk down the hall together. He nervously reflects on his first parent-teacher conference, hoping he hasn't made any mistakes. Turning to Seo-young, he asks why Siwoo's mother is visiting. Seo-young admits she doesn't know the full details. She clarifies that the mother only mentioned having something urgent to discuss. A stylish woman in sunglasses arrives with Siwoo and another crying child. An alarm clock on the desk ticks loudly, marking the tense passage of time. Seo Min-woo sits nervously, his hands clasped tightly in his lap. He maintains a strained, polite smile while waiting for the meeting to begin. Oh my, he stammers, his forced smile betraying his deep nervousness. He formally asks his guest what brings her to the preschool today. A composed woman in a stylish suit and sunglasses sits patiently, emanating a powerful and serious aura. In the tense, quiet room, the woman grows anxious, wondering why Seo Min-woo is wearing sunglasses indoors as her child faces the wall. The child, Mew, whimpers that her leg hurts, but her mother sternly tells her to continue facing the wall as punishment. The woman apologizes to Seo Min-woo, explaining that Mew made a mistake and hands him a backpack. He is confused by the apology and the bag, assuming it's about a misplaced teddy bear, and not a serious issue. Suddenly, the backpack unzips to reveal a small, startled cat-like creature peeking out from inside. Squeak! Seo Minwoo stares in bewilderment as the bag lets out a series of loud, strange squeaks. Chirp. The woman internally confirms she fed the squirrel as the bag bulges and squeaks with renewed energy. She sighs in relief as Seo Minwoo dismisses the issue, simply commenting that the bag seemed unfamiliar. The woman instructs a tearful Mew to apologize to the director as the child sniffles about her little friend. In a flash, Mew dashes across the room directly towards Seo Minwoo. Her mother lets out a quiet sigh, a subtle glint reflecting off her dark sunglasses. Kia! While explaining Mew is a good child, the woman shrieks as Mew pounces on a creature while a boy pretends not to notice. She stands alone in a stark white space, a solitary figure lost in thought. Lowering her glasses with a confident smile, she tells Seo Minwoo she feels relieved to have such a strong director. She recalls a figure being overwhelmed by blue energy at the funeral, a detail she hadn't noticed at the time. Seo Minwoo humbly brushes off the compliment, privately thinking she's just asking him to handle future incidents. She finds his humility amusing, while he looks on with a slightly confused expression. Feeling apologetic, she offers him a small gift that she hopes he will accept. She opens a box to reveal a silver ring, explaining it repels bad energy and captures good. He silently assesses the ring, noting its rough appearance and concluding it doesn't look valuable. He politely declines the gift, claiming it would be a burden, but she insists it's nothing significant. He's visibly shocked when she adds that the ring isn't even worth over 20 million won. As she sits silently, he assumes she is carefully deliberating her next move. She internally compares him to the previous director, Ju Hee, wondering if he shares her strict principles about accepting gifts. Pushing the box toward him slightly, she begins to say she understands if he truly doesn't want it. Before she can finish, his hand darts out and decisively grabs the ring box. Holding the box with a solemn gaze, he declares he will accept it out of gratitude for her care. She is taken aback by the intensity in his glowing eyes, realizing he's completely different from the previous director. She sees him as a uniquely solemn figure, standing as a protector before the children. Reassured, she decides to tell the others not to worry and thanks him for accepting her gift. As she stands to leave, she formally entrusts the care of the children to the director. Seo Minwoo walks her toward the door after their meeting concludes. The moment she is gone, he collapses in delight, giggling about how perfectly the precious box fits in his hand. In a playful fantasy, he offers the ring to an unseen master with reverence. A system window identifies the item as a healing silver ring, and he excitedly realizes what an awesome recovery item he's received. Overcome with emotion, he wonders why she gave him toy money at the funeral when she could afford such a gift. He lovingly speaks to the ring, welcoming it to his life and naming it Rumi. He cherishes his precious Rumi, while Radha contentedly snuggles up on his shoulder. The scene shifts to a colorful collection of marbles, arranged for a game on an ornate carpet. The preschool children gather to play, with one reminding the others to shoot their marbles softly. With a sharp flick of his finger, Save sends his marble flying toward the others. The marble streaks forward, imbued with a powerful, fiery energy that defies the simple game. The impact results in a massive, fiery explosion that engulfs the marbles. The other children and a nearby teacher stare in shock at the unbelievable display of power. Imbued with the mysterious power, the marbles begin to float magically into the air. A vibrant green energy crackles and surrounds the floating marbles, signaling a powerful effect. Wah! The green-haired child bursts into tears, wailing loudly for his lost marble. He sits on the floor, completely devastated, as he cries that the lost marble was his favorite. In a flashback, Bobo cries that he won't play with Rom anymore as Rom panics, and another child reports the fight to Se-ryung. Wah! Se-ryung rushes to the scene, asking if the children are okay while one cries loudly. Se-ryung comforts a cat-eared child, explaining Rom made a mistake, and encourages him to apologize to Bobo. Bobo sobs that he didn't hit him hard, but Se-ryung gently insists that an apology is still necessary. Rem is stunned as the insult dummy echoes through his mind. The word sends him tumbling through a disorienting void of question marks. Shaking with anger, Ram yells that the insult was too mean, causing Se-ryung to worry that a big fight is about to start. Se-ryung insists he must apologize for breaking Bobo's thing, but Ram protests that Bobo called him a dummy first. She calmly explains Bobo was upset over losing something precious, and asks Ram if he broke it on purpose. Ram looks down guiltily, fidgeting with his jacket, unable to answer her question. With tears in his eyes, Ram finally manages to whisper, "I'm sorry." The two make up as Bobo apologizes for calling him a dummy, and Si-ring watches with a warm smile. As a peace offering, Ram gives Bobo a beautiful, glowing blue crystal. Bobo's eyes light up with wonder as he receives the sparkling gift. Si-ryong identifies the gift as a magic stone, relieved and touched by how quickly the children resolve their fight. Bobo suddenly yawns, saying he's sleepy just as they decide to play marbles again, shocking Ram. Si-ryong carries the sleeping Bobo, while Joa Young and another child play in the background. Seo Minwoo enters the room and asks Si-ryong if the parent-teacher conferences are over. When she asks how it went, he strikes a confident pose and declares his first conference was manageable. He proudly presents the blue stone, laughing and claiming he just happened to pick it up while walking. Si-ryong gives him an unimpressed look, thinking to herself that it's obvious to everyone he's just bragging. Confusing him, she says Ram gave her the pretty stone and asks if it's a gift for her. Bobo stirs in his sleep, mumbling that he was just looking at the stone. Seo Minwoo looks on with a blank, confused expression. He inspects the item, identifying it as a magic stone, which surprises Si-ryong, who asks how he knows about them. She wonders if he saw one during his monster fight the previous night, flashing back to his injured state. He says the shape is similar, but needs appraisal, prompting her to ask what magic stones are for. Her question stuns him as he realizes with shock that magic stones can be sold for money. She confirms this is an E-grade magic stone. As the gleaming blue crystal is shown, he flashes back to finding many such stones, celebrating his luck and praising himself for picking them up. Si-ryong notes that currency from the world of Arsene looks different from Earth's. She smugly holds up a single bill, revealing it's worth 100 million won. Seo Minwoo takes the bill, marveling at the currency from another world. A sudden, dawning horror crosses his face as he examines the bill more closely. He inspects the banknote, a chilling sense of familiarity washing over him. A frantic memory surfaces of the funeral and the stack of money he received. In utter shock, he realizes the bill is the funeral money he thought was fake. Crash. The revelation causes him to throw everything into the air in a panic. He scrambles desperately on the floor, trying to gather the scattered books and papers. Si-ryong calmly confirms the bill is imperial currency and asks why he is acting so strangely. He clutches the money with trembling hands as she watches him with concern. As an info panel explains, the currency can be exchanged at Guma Fortress. Seo Minwoo nervously dismisses Si-ryong's concern. He frantically searches a messy room, realizing with disbelief that the toy money was real cash worth millions. His eyes widen as the monumental truth of his newfound wealth hits him. He discovers the thick envelope of money tucked inside an old book. With trembling hands, he carefully pulls out the forgotten envelope. His face is frozen in a mask of stunned, breathless anticipation. "Holy crap," he screams, throwing his head back in pure ecstasy as money rains down around him. A chaotic blur of motion captures his overwhelming joy and shock. He tightly clutches the crumpled envelope, profoundly grateful that he had stashed it away instead of throwing it out. Seo Minwoo celebrates his massive windfall of 384 Empire currency bills. Tears of pure joy stream down his face as he beams with happiness. He marvels at his luck, realizing he's unexpectedly come into free money. The scene shifts to a quiet residential street, where a woman with cat ears arrives at a gate. She pauses for a moment, her expression unreadable. Looking up with determined golden eyes, she prepares to enter. Back at the daycare, Seo Minwoo walks around in a pair of silly dinosaur slippers. Wah! Now in a full dinosaur costume, he happily runs from the delighted children. He grins, thoroughly enjoying the playtime with the kids. Overjoyed, he thinks the world is beautiful as the children gleefully chase their monster. He fantasizes about his 380 million won, laughing that true peace of mind comes from a healthy bank account. 2 hours later, his joy has vanished, replaced by complete exhaustion. The tireless children gather around him, begging him to keep playing. He stares blankly ahead as the children chant for him to play train with them. Si-ryong steps in to stop them, but Ram offers to share his play energy with the drained Seo Minwoo. She watches with a satisfied smile, noting that the director is getting along well with the children. Later, Si-ryong answers a call before a large, ornate door, responding, Yes, Chairman. The chairman on the line asks what Director Minwoo is up to, recalling her previous doubts, but she confirms he's in class. He informs her that a White Tiger Division member is on Earth investigating Director Juhee's funeral records. Ethereal, glowing documents from the funeral float through the air. The chairman warns her to tell Director Minwoo to be careful, and she soberly agrees. Ending the call, she releases a glowing butterfly as green energy swirls around her. Her expression is serious as she processes the warning. She informs the chairman that a visitor has arrived, and she must go. As she walks away, the chairman's voice promises to contact her again. She heads toward the entrance, wondering about the unscheduled visitor. Walking outside, she dismisses the idea of a new assistant teacher, thinking it's too soon. Kya! As she opens the gate, the cat-eared woman from before jumps back in shock. Startled, the woman offers a nervous greeting. Seryong coolly asks for her identity, as the woman stammers an explanation. She sizes her up, wondering if she's a divine beast and asking if she is a cat. The woman smiles politely and clarifies that she is a fox. A close-up highlights the glowing blue pendant around the fox woman's neck. Sensing no yokai energy, Seryong assumes she's a divine beast sent by Seo Minwoo and invites her inside. As the fox woman follows, Seryong muses that the director found an assistant teacher faster than expected. She decides to trust the newcomer, hoping she will love the children as much as director Seo Minwoo does. As Seryong's back is turned, the fox woman's shadow transforms into a menacing figure with glowing eyes. Once inside, the fox woman reflects that entry was easy, attributing her success to the necklace. In a flashback, she reveals her true identity, a diplomatic envoy of Lord Hoa, a yokai. An immense power emanates from her as she stands ready. Kneeling before a throne, she announces her presence to her master. The piercing golden eye of a white fox deity glares down. The powerful being, Lord Hoa, the seventh lord, acknowledges her arrival. The fox woman looks down respectfully and affirms her presence. Lord Hoa gives her a mission. Go and forge a peace treaty with the divine realm. Stunned by the unexpected command, she asks for clarification. Lord Hoa explains the situation is dire and that she must operate in secret to avoid detection by other yokai lords. Her orders are to prevent war and secure the World Tree's fruit as a peace offering. She quietly contemplates the daunting task of retrieving the legendary fruit. The narrative introduces the prize, a mysterious and powerful fruit. The glowing seed of the World Tree is presented, a relic needed to restore the deteriorating divine power of Lord Hoa. The foxwoman looks down as Lord Hoa's voice asks if she understands her grave condition. She resolves to complete her mission, no matter the personal cost. Lord Hoa's hand glows with power, creating an item that will conceal her yokai energy. The power solidifies into a beautiful pendant, which floats down towards her outstretched hands. Kneeling in reverence, she accepts the daunting mission. Running through a modern city, she recalls her objective. Find I am Juhee, the hero who saved the World Tree's final seed. She remembers seeing Seo Minwoo at the funeral, realizing too late that I am Juhee had already passed away. Following the faintest of traces, her search continued. Her pursuit finally led her to the gates of the daycare. Clutching her necklace inside, she feels relief, knowing her successful entry was a stroke of luck and steeling herself for what's next. She pushes open large doors, entering a breathtakingly grand and ornate hall. Standing in the magnificent entryway, her face is cast in shadow as she takes in her surroundings. Her eyes widen in shock as she senses the presence of high-level magic all around her. She identifies powerful space, protection, and air purification magic, realizing the building is astronomically valuable. A wave of anxiety hits her as she realizes the power difference is far greater than she anticipated. Seryong welcomes her warmly, noting the building is clean, and the foxwoman nervously agrees. Seryong cheerfully suggests they head to the director's office, and the foxwoman enthusiastically agrees. The scene shifts to the elegant double doors of the director's office. Seryong presents a divine beast preschool childcare teacher employment contract, explaining it's just some simple paperwork. The foxwoman stares at the contract in confusion, wondering why she's been given this. Seryong explains their preschool prioritizes creating a safe haven for children over formal qualifications. Understanding the school's philosophy, the foxwoman is still bewildered as to why she's being told this. Telling her to review the documents, Seryong excuses herself to go get the director. Looking at the contract, the foxwoman connects the dots. The director is the son she saw at the funeral. She concludes that to acquire the world tree's fruit, she will need his help. Her thoughts are interrupted by a voice from the hall. She scoffs internally at someone daring to order a noble. Seo Minwoo opens the door with two children, telling them to find Seryong since he's busy. He turns with a bright smile, greeting her and asking if she had been waiting long. She sizes him up, thinking he seems ordinary, yet she can't shake the feeling there's more to him. Seo Minwoo continues to speak, his expression open and friendly. Taking a seat, he asks if she has finished reading the contract. Her eyes glow as she scans him, shocked to find he has no discernible life energy, a sign of perfect concealment. She realizes he must be incredibly powerful, while Seo Minwoo simply thinks to himself how tough his day has been. Seo Minwoo thanks her for applying to their preschool, adding he can tell she's special, which confuses her completely. Realizing his misunderstanding, she begins to explain she's not there for a teaching job, prompting him to ask in alarm if she's lost interest. "No, that's not it," she says, placing a hand on the contract to explain her true purpose. Before she can speak, the door creaks open, and three adorable children peek into the office. Bam! The fox woman is hit with a massive wave of cuteness, blushing as she calls them squishy rice cakes. A child in a dinosaur suit trips, and she marvels at their round eyes and chubby cheeks. The combination of babies and animals proves to be too cute for her to handle. Instantly sold, she thinks a job where she can see these kids every day is a dream and decides to sign immediately. She clenches her fist, forcing herself to focus, and remember, she didn't come here to be a teacher. As she weighs her options, worrying about how to ask for the fruit, Seo Minwoo asks why she's so quiet. Imagining a triumphant return home with the fruit, she makes up her mind and eagerly asks, "Where do I sign?" With his face ominously shadowed, Seo Minwoo points to the signature line, and she happily agrees. A bright light fills the window, signifying a new beginning. They firmly shake hands, sealing their new agreement. A hand waves a cheerful hello. Now in a new teacher's outfit, she joyfully introduces herself to the class as Teacher Lee Mi-ho. Several of the divine children wave and greet their new teacher. Staring with wide, sparkling eyes, Lee Mi-ho is utterly captivated by their cuteness. An explosion of hearts and light signifies she's been completely overwhelmed by their charm. The next day, a happy shriek of "Kia!" echoes through the preschool's grand courtyard. Lee Mi-ho melts as she snuggles a soft, fluffy child. "Kia!" She hugs a small boy, calling it true happiness while he asks to be let go, but she refuses. The boy looks up, asking teacher Mi-ho how long she's going to keep hugging him. He struggles and lets out a panicked ba'a as she continues to cuddle him with pure delight. Recalling his parents' advice about promises, the boy worries while Lee Mi-ho thinks his expression is adorable. She reflects that while the yokai realm has children, they can't compare to the lovability of these divine kids. In a grand fantasy, she's welcomed to the Divine Beast preschool by a chorus of flying, trumpet-playing children. Clutching her necklace, she reminds herself that it will conceal her true identity in this divine realm. She smiles contentedly, finding the children adorable as the little boy she's holding sings a happy tune. Her blissful moment is interrupted as she spots Ram shaking a tree and quickly tells him to stop. Ram pouts, frustrated that the oranges high up in the tree won't fall down. Lee Mi-ho explains they aren't ready to eat, but promises they can have them when they're ripe. Saluting smartly, Ram declares he understands and will cheer for the oranges to grow. He enthusiastically yells for an orange to grow quickly, causing it to sprout a stressed-out face. Ram then complains about being hungry now, prompting Lee Mi-ho to ponder a solution as lunchtime approaches. She offers to give him a piece of candy, and he eagerly agrees that it's a great idea. Addressing her as A Young, Lee Mi-ho offers the candy as a special treat since it's not usually allowed. The Young's eyes widen and sparkle, touched by the word special. Blushing, she accepts the candy, flusteredly insisting she's only taking it because it was offered. Another child named Miu timidly asks for a treat too, and Lee Mi-ho considers giving her one. Watching from a distance, Seo Minwoo and Seryong observe Lee Mi-ho with the children. Seo Minwoo frowns, sourly wondering if this favoritism is a form of species discrimination. He internally laments that the kids like teacher Mi-ho more than him, recalling his own failed attempts to entertain them. Seryong cheerfully remarks that he's hired a good teacher and he can only agree. She informs him that she reported to the chairman that he brought in the new teacher and the chairman was very pleased. Seo Min-woo recognizes that she's giving him the credit, noting her savviness in workplace politics. He looks on, concluding that with his workload reduced, he can now focus on his other tasks. A system window flashes open, giving him a quest notice that the arena's second floor is now open. He holds the quest window, reading the details and realizing something is amiss. He sees that entry time has been moved up, and the penalty for failure is now player death. Realizing he must go today, he notes the new conditions: a required water attribute and a limit of 1 divine beast. He and Se-ryong stand together as he ponders the water attribute requirement, knowing his choice is critical. A small turtle shell floats peacefully in the water, its owner fast asleep. Seo Min-woo kneels beside the water, silently contemplating the sleeping turtle child. He wonders how to wake her, thinking about how he has rarely ever seen her awake. He recalls a memory of the children seriously discussing food the day before, and gets an idea. Leaning close to the water, he whispers that today's lunch is bulgogi. Instantly, the turtle child's head emerges from the water, drooling as she sleepily asks, "Meat?" Seo Min-woo cheekily suggests going somewhere fun instead, and the child tiredly agrees to his plan. The scene transitions to a bright, sun-drenched forest. The narrative explains this is a dangerous forest, where threats can appear at any moment. A fierce squirrel introduces himself as Ratatosk, the one who protects this very forest. He scurries along a branch, searching the area for any dangerous presences. Back with the other children, one asks where Bobo is, and another replies that the director took him away. Bobo the squirrel puffs his chest proudly, thinking they need him, but freezes as a sinister presence appears behind him. A massive burst of unseen power suddenly erupts within the forest. Squeak. Following the explosion, Bobo is sent flying through the forest, screaming in terror. Back at the preschool, Miu pads softly down the hallway with a quiet "nyang." She stops in her tracks, spotting Seo Min-woo standing alone in the grand hall. With an uncharacteristically serious look, he declares that this time he wants to eat it raw. He reacts with a confused, "huh," just before a small creature lunges directly at his face, causing him to cry out. Wham! The force of the impact sends him flying backward into a wall. He struggles desperately, his cries muffled as the creature latches onto his face. The hands of a grand clock spin uncontrollably, signaling a warp in time or space. Sitting on the floor next to a turtle shell, Seo Min-woo holds the small creature at arm's length. Catching his breath, he thinks he almost suffocated and wonders where the creature suddenly came from. He holds up the limp animal, still baffled by the bizarre attack. In a flash, the scene transforms into a volcanic wasteland filled with lava. A quest window appears, describing the waste crater and its mission to hunt down the creatures within. Seo Min-woo finds himself on the arena's second floor, sweating from the heat with a sleeping A-young on his back. He scoffs at a system message restricting high-grade items, calling the rule cheap. Standing amidst the fiery landscape, he anxiously wonders what he's supposed to do. As the ground shakes violently, he fears a volcanic eruption, which wakes A-young, who complains it's too noisy. Startled by the tremors, A-young's eyes flutter open. The rumbling abruptly stops, and he observes the sudden silence while holding the child. He stands between two massive rock formations as droplets of water begin to materialize in the air around him. His moment of peace is shattered as a monstrous, drooling fire dog emerges, identified by a system window. He stares in horror as the one-star fire dog lunges, its massive form filling his vision. The beast lets out a ferocious snarl, its steaming breath revealing razor-sharp tusks. Thinking of a cute puppy, Seo Min-woo realizes this monster is not the fire dog he was expecting. His mission objective appears: hunt all fire dogs, prompting him to angrily question the system's sanity. The fire dog's enormous paw smashes down toward him. A powerful burst of fire erupts from the monster's attack. Ag! He screams as he's caught in the explosive impact of the monster's strike. He desperately scrambles away from the blast, protecting A-young as he runs. Deciding to run now and think later, he tells Bobo to hold on tight as A-young starts to cry. He skids to a halt, finding his escape route cut off by a wide river of lava. Looking out over the molten landscape, he realizes his path is blocked. Trapped, he turns to see the massive fire dog looming over him, ready to strike again. He questions if his strength is enough to defeat such a large opponent as he channels power into his glowing fist. A sudden flash of insight hits him as he recalls the mysterious water droplets. He looks down at his hand in confusion, realizing the power he feels might be Young's ability, not his own. A system window flashes, confirming that the unique skill link has activated. A vision appears, showing a different fighter striking a pose before a brightly lit door. The figure in the vision unleashes a powerful meteor attack, crushing a monster as Young looks on in awe. The memory concludes with the fighter standing victoriously over their defeated foe. Back in reality, celebrates his own successful meteor kick, marveling that the borrowed skill actually worked. He gently sets Young down, telling her to wait a moment. On the ground where the monster fell, he finds a glittering blue magic stone. He smiles, realizing the valuable gem is worth 100,000 won. His celebration is cut short as Young startles him by clinging tightly to his leg. With tears welling in her large green eyes, she tells him she's scared. Seo Minwoo looks down at the terrified child with a pained, worried expression. He grimly reflects that this fiery, monstrous wasteland is definitely not a suitable place for kids. Promising to do his best as director, he tries to reassure Young, urging her to stay calm. He explains he can't attack while she's clinging to him, but she sniffles and refuses to let go. Zing! As the massive paw descends, Seo Minwoo stands his ground, taunting the creature for its stubbornness. His defiant expression falters as a whole pack of snarling fire dogs emerges from the raging inferno. Seo Minwoo, Bobo, and Bobo the squirrel let out a collective, silent scream of pure terror. He panics, realizing the quest wasn't over, which is why the completion notification never appeared. Staring at the massive horde, he wonders in disbelief why there are even more of them now. With tears welling in his eyes, Bobo timidly asks his director if they can please go home. Wah! The terrified child's plea quickly turns into an earth-shattering wail, startling Seo Minwoo. He tries to comfort the crying Bobo, asking him to stop and promising they'll get out soon. Seo Minwoo desperately warns him that if he keeps crying like that, it will only attract more monsters, realizing too late that the child's cries have drawn the aggro of the entire horde. Resigned to his fate, Seo Minwoo yells, "Ah, forget it!" As Bobo looks on, exhausted. He scoops up the wailing child and shouts, "Let's run!" as they flee from the fiery beasts. While escaping the chaos, he pleads with Bobo to stop crying as the child continues to wail. The scene pans out, showing their tiny figures running through the vast, foreboding wasteland. Single, mysterious droplet of water falls from the dark sky, landing on Seo Minwoo's head. He stops, confused by the sudden drop of water on his face in the middle of the fiery arena. A sudden downpour begins, and he wonders if it's raining as water douses the horde of fire dogs. Bobo remembers something similar happening at a funeral, sparking a moment of realization. Looking down at the sobbing child, Seo Minwoo asks in astonishment, "Bobo, was it you?" He watches as the rain extinguishes the fire on the monsters' backs, thinking they now look strangely weak, and that this is an incredible stroke of luck. Seizing the opportunity, he shouts for Bobo to cry more and charges forward, yelling for them to go. Laughing with renewed confidence, he believes they can now clear the quest easily. His celebration is cut short when he's blindsided by another fire dog lunging at him. "Get out of the way," he yells, activating his skill and delivering a powerful meteor kick. He lands with a triumphant smile, holding Bobo safely as defeated monsters fly through the air behind him. Gazing up at him with wide, teary eyes, Bobo realizes that what his big sister Young said was true. Awestruck by the display of power, Bobo thinks to himself that Seo Minwoo is so cool. Seo Minwoo's feet touch down as he prepares for the next phase of the fight. He realizes the weakened dogs are still a threat from all directions, and grows worried as the rain starts to weaken. He comes to a sudden halt, noticing that Bobo, nestled in his arms, has stopped crying. Bobo looks up at him with a puzzled expression, his tears having finally run dry. As Bobo stops crying, the rain ceases, and Seo Minwoo watches in horror as the fire dog's flames reignite, stronger than before. He lets out another terrified scream as the newly empowered monsters close in on them. Panicked, he shakes the child, desperately pleading Bobo, "Keep crying." But Bobo just stares back, confused. Frantically, he urges Bobo to think of sad things, like the time he lost his favorite toy. Bobo looks up with a single tear, pensively questioning the word toy. The memory triggers an explosive burst of purple energy as Bobo unleashes an apocalyptic tantrum, creating a massive storm. Amidst the powerful downpour, Seo Minwoo grins and praises the wailing Bobo for a job well done. He recalls receiving a D-grade random box from a previous quest and is prompted to use it now. "Open it now," he declares, smashing the yes button on the holographic screen. Fired up, he clenches his fist and yells, "Let's go!" as Bobo the squirrel lets out a confused squeak. Looking around, he wonders where the rodents he presumably summoned are. A giant, cartoonish squirrel suddenly appears behind him, presenting itself with a flourish. "Well, that's nuts." He shoves a glowing system window towards the new summon, urgently telling it to take it and fight. Realizing Bobo has stopped crying again, he watches in horror as an enraged fire dog lunges at him. "Heave-ho!" he yells, desperately throwing Bobo into the air as the ground beneath him explodes. He pivots sharply before making a desperate leap over a wide chasm filled with lava. Finding his path blocked by a pack of sleeping fire dogs, he realizes he needs to find another way. Standing at the edge of a cliff and holding Bobo's shell, he feels hopeless and wonders what to do now. He grimly realizes his meteor kick and superhuman strength alone won't be enough to defeat the entire horde. He examines the M-grade Mouse Whisperer skill he just acquired, dismissing it as completely useless for the current fight. He and Bobo look on in confusion as the giant squirrel Rada confidently steps forward. Squeak with a powerful cry, Rada smashes its glowing fist into the ground. As a fire dog stands dazed with a pacifier in its mouth, Seo Minwoo covers Bobo's eyes and screams Rada's name in panic. A brilliant flash of yellow lightning erupts across the battlefield. The silhouette of a fire dog sizzles as it's consumed by the electrical storm. The lightning crashes down, causing a massive explosion that engulfs the area. "I'm scared," Bobo screams, unleashing a swirling torrent of green energy from his body. The vortex of green power intensifies, blasting through the remaining monsters with overwhelming force. Looking at the electrocuted fire dogs, Seo Minwoo wonders if Rada's lightning and Bobo's rain combine to wipe them out. The battle concluded, he frantically searches the area, yelling, "Where's Rata?" A tiny squirrel appears, squeaking as the words "Squirrel Thunder" flash in the background. A vision shows a pile of adorable creatures, identified as residents of the Divine Beast preschool. As lightning continues to strike the volcano, he narrates that the rain has stopped and all the fire dogs are defeated. Staring at the stormy landscape, he wonders why the quest completion message hasn't appeared. Noting the lightning persists. Deciding to profit from their ordeal, he excitedly begins gathering the valuable magic stones left by the monsters. He celebrates his jackpot of gems, already dreaming of buying a new armory with the money. Bobo interrupts his celebration, pointing and asking what a new object in the distance is. Bobo points directly at a glowing box that has suddenly materialized in a burst of light. He realizes a grand building on a faraway cliff is the exit, and they must reach it to clear the stage. His attention is suddenly drawn to a massive pillar of fire erupting from the volcano. The volcano violently explodes, shaking the entire wasteland and spewing lava across the cracked earth. He and Bobo stand before the cataclysmic eruption, watching the world burn. As Bobo sprints towards the exit, Seo Minwoo urgently yells for him to hurry. An explosion erupts right behind the fleeing child, and Seo Minwoo cries out in shock. "Run away!" he screams, as they both desperately flee from the fiery explosions chasing them. The scene shifts as a woman with blonde hair peeks into an office, asking if the manager is busy. A woman at a desk asks what's wrong, and the blonde woman, Ms. Mi-ho, expresses her concern about the director and Bobo's absence. The manager thinks to herself that they must have gone to the arena, recalling her promise to trust and support them. She decides to keep their activities a secret from Lee Mi-ho for now, planning to tell her after building more trust. Outside, Mi-ho stares in shock at a giant tree in the garden, wondering if it's the legendary world tree. The manager confirms it is the world tree, explaining that she knows from childhood stories and its unique energy signature. Mi-ho senses something is wrong with the tree, prompting the manager to reveal it was cursed by evil yokai. Mi-ho questions the diagnosis, stating that the curse smells less like a yokai's and more like human blood. Looking at the wilting tree, the manager confirms its vitality is fading daily, which is why it no longer bears fruit. The manager confidently slams her fist down, declaring that Director Seo will break the curse, though Mi-ho seems skeptical. She explains that the director is motivated by a desire to avenge his mother. Under a dark aura, the manager states that killing all the yokai will lift the curse, while a terrified yokai insists they are innocent. Ho despairs, realizing how difficult it will be to negotiate a peace treaty with someone so focused on revenge. Back in the wasteland, a battered Seo Min-woo and Bobo finally emerge from the chaos, with him sighing that it was a close call. The volcanic eruption is shown to have shattered someone's long-standing plans, symbolized by a torn scroll. The disastrous event has incurred the wrath of a mysterious, shadowy figure in dark robes. This is an example of an unhelpful response to the user. It does not provide enough information or context for the user to understand what is happening, and it does not offer any solution or next steps. Additionally, it contains jargon that may be unfamiliar to the user, making it even more difficult for them to comprehend. The response could be improved by providing a more detailed explanation of what went wrong, offering specific troubleshooting steps, or suggesting alternative actions the user could take. A delivery truck arrives in a quiet neighborhood, announcing a package delivery. Seo Min-woo finds a large, beautifully wrapped gift, wondering if the manager sent it. He notices a small white envelope tucked into the red ribbon. The letter is from Bobo's mom, thanking him for giving her child courage and sending a small token of her gratitude. As he reads the letter, he realizes it's from Bobo's mother, picturing her kind smile. His eyes sparkle with excitement as he eagerly anticipates opening the mysterious gift. Seo Min-woo is stunned to learn the gift from Bobo's mother is worth 20 million won, questioning what the wealthy consider not expensive. A soft sound marks the moment as the gift is finally unwrapped. He stares at the revealed gift, a simple potted plant, and wonders what it could be. Pondering if it's a congratulatory gift for his new directorship, he considers where to place it. Ms. Mi-ho suddenly appears, cheerfully suggesting a spot, and startling Seo Min-woo. She places her hands on the pot, explaining that it's enhanced with temperature control magic. As a demonstration, she sets it to -50 degrees, instantly freezing Seo Min-woo solid while asking if it's too cold. She then cranks it up to 50 degrees, engulfing him in flames and asking if that's too hot. Finding a comfortable medium, he sighs in relief, declaring that it feels just right. Ms. Mi-ho explains the pot will provide cool air in summer and warmth in winter, leaving Seo Min-woo amazed. His amazement turns to suspicion as he asks Ms. Mi-ho how she knows so much about magic, causing her to hesitate. As she panics, a pair of twitching cat-like ears pops out from her hair, shocking him. Ms. Mi-ho strikes a cheerful pose, revealing her ears, and he realizes she must be a divine beast too. Concluding it's to be expected, since manager Kim Se-reyong hired her, he's interrupted by Ms. Mi-ho, who marvels at the pot's expense. When he questions its value, she confirms it's a top-notch item with a luxurious design and powerful magic. He thoughtfully considers her words, realizing the preschool is filled with other expensive items. A spark of greed ignites in his eyes as he excitedly asks where the other treasures are. With a cheerful thumbs up, Ms. Mi-ho points him toward the preschool's interior. She reveals that a nearby painting, a parody of the Scream, is enchanted with space expansion magic. Next, she explains the grand fountain has protection magic, which he admits he almost removed due to maintenance costs. As she excitedly points out all the precious items, she asks how he acquired them, but he can only reply that he doesn't know. Gazing upon the luxurious hall filled with magical artifacts, he becomes consumed with a new goal, taking over the preschool. With eyes blazing with determination, Seo Min-woo clenches his fist, solidifying his new ambition. The scene transitions with a whimsical pixel art depiction of the Divine Beast preschool. Night falls as the scene shifts to a quiet, moonlit room. Zzz. In his bed, Seo Min-woo is sound asleep. He tosses and turns slightly in his sleep. A system window materializes, announcing that he has met the enhancement conditions for his passive mouse whisperer skill. A shadowy, winged creature silently settles onto his chest as he sleeps. The glowing-eyed creature sits on him as a new notification reveals an additional effect. He can now understand the language of rodents. Squeak, squeak, squeak! The creature chatters away, but Seo Min-woo remains fast asleep. The mysterious winged rodent vanishes as quickly as it appeared. He dreams of floating comfortably on a cloud, unaware of a small object falling from the sky toward his sleeping body. He vaguely wonders what the falling brown object is. Thump. A plump squirrel lands directly on his face, waking him instantly. He struggles under the surprisingly heavy squirrel, trying to push the creature off while muttering its name. Sitting up, he looks at the tiny squirrel on his bed and questions if it was the one that landed on him. Annoyed that the squirrel is ruining his sleep, he tries to shove it away. Yawn. He drowsily complains about the creature crawling onto his side of the bed. He freezes, startled, upon hearing a squeaky voice declare, "It's my choice!" Sitting bolt upright, he looks around the dark room, wondering who just spoke. His eyes land on the squirrel, and a nervous sweat forms as he begins to suspect the impossible. With its arms crossed defiantly, the squirrel confirms his suspicion with a squeaky. He recoils in terror, yelling about how he can understand a squirrel, while the creature huffs and turns away, pointing a trembling finger. He demands to know what the talking squirrel is. The squirrel asks if he can truly hear its voice, and a stunned Seo Minwoo confirms that he can. Surprised, the squirrel notes that this is a first, as it has never been understood by anyone before. A sudden realization dawns on Seo Minwoo. He recalls the system notification enhancing his mouse whisperer skill, finally understanding his newfound ability. He realizes his newfound ability is the system's doing, wondering when the skill enhancement notification appeared. The squirrel climbs onto his leg, grandly declaring it will make him a comrade, startling Seo Minwoo. Squeak! Identifying itself as Ratatosker, the tiny squirrel impatiently demands that he cook some food immediately. Annoyed, Seo Minwoo questions why the tiny creature is speaking so informally and ordering a human around. Jink, an electric energy crackles through the air. Chirp Ratatosker unleashes a bolt of lightning, electrocuting a shocked Seo Minwoo. The screen flashes with a blinding burst of intense lightning. The scene shifts to a library where Rada sits with its arms crossed, looking smug. Kim Se-ryong enters the room, her eyes widening in surprise at the sight. She asks Seo Minwoo if he decided to raise Rada, and he awkwardly explains that it just happened. As Kim Se-ryong questions how he tamed the spirit beast, Rada squeaks that Seo Minwoo is actually its minion. She recalls how even she and director I.M. Joo-hee failed to tame the creature, remembering a time she called out to Mr. Rada. Impressed, she thinks to herself that director Seo is truly no ordinary person. She wonders how he knew a spirit beast could enter the arena, then tells the creature to get off his head. Her thoughts continue, marveling that he tamed and now carries such a notoriously picky spirit beast. She clenches her fist, concluding this feat proves the incredible strength of his resolve to avenge his mother. Abruptly standing, Seo Minwoo announces he has to take the kids to school and will return later. With Rada still perched on his head, he turns to leave the office. Kim Se-ryong stops him just before he leaves, asking if he has a moment to spare. In a soft, floral-themed scene, she begins to make a suggestion for that evening. Surrounded by glowing flowers, she asks him, how about leaving him and Rada in suspense? The romantic atmosphere thickens as they stand facing each other amidst a field of blooming flowers. Rada looks shocked by this unexpected development, while Seo Minwoo seems pleasantly surprised. The scene transitions, marking a pause in the narrative. The story resumes outside a cozy-looking restaurant as evening falls. Inside the kitchen, a cook calls an order for table 3 to a man named Chang-sik, who acknowledges her. The man, Chang-sik, is stunned to see Seo Minwoo walk in with 2 women, recognizing his old friend. As Mi-ho marvels at the restaurant, Chang-sik jealously wonders why Seo Minwoo is with 2 women. Seo Minwoo calls out to his friend, asking if he'll take their order, snapping him out of his daze. Chang-sik grabs Seo Minwoo's collar, demanding to know who he is, to which he retorts, "What do you mean?" A dark aura surrounds Chang-sik as he internally grills his friend about where he met 2 beautiful ladies. Kim Se-ryong and Mi-ho watch the reunion with expressions of mild annoyance. Chang-sik begrudgingly shows them to a table, promising to bring them a special menu with A++ hanger steak. He then formally introduces himself as lawyer Yu Chang-sik, presenting a business card and calling himself Minwoo's best friend. Mi-ho is impressed that he's a lawyer and a restaurateur, but he clarifies that he just helps at his parents' place. In a dramatic flourish, Chang-sik declares his purpose is to provide legal protection for those in trouble. He strikes a pose, proudly offering his services as lawyer Yu Chang-sik. Bowing theatrically, Chang-sik's antics amuse Mi-ho, while Seo Minwoo cringes in embarrassment. Seo Minwoo cuts through the drama to ask for water, only to be told it's self-service. Returning with drinks for everyone, Seo Minwoo announces the meal is on the company, and they should eat all they want. He encourages Mi-ho to enjoy the meal, smiling as he prepares the grill. With a sizzle, he places thick cuts of meat onto the hot grill. Kim Se-ryong stops him, insisting the meat is undercooked, while he argues that rare beef is perfectly fine. Defeated by her logic, Seo Min-woo lets out a quiet sigh. The tongs clatter as the meat is placed back on the grill to cook longer. Just as he reaches for the tongs again, Kim Se-ryong stops him, announcing there is a ritual to perform first. As the others watch in confusion, she makes a strange gesture with her hands before they eat. She holds up her glass for a toast, prompting the others to do the same. Cheers! The three of them clink their glasses together before beginning their meal. As the meat finally cooks, Seo Min-woo questions Kim Se-ryong about her sudden change of heart regarding eating beef. He asks Kim Se-ryong about his welcome dinner, and she confirms this meal serves that purpose as well. Kim Se-ryong encourages Mi-ho to eat, who happily agrees to take over grilling the meat for everyone. Puzzled, Kim Se-ryong asks why she chose a barbecue restaurant if she doesn't eat beef. Mi-ho reminds her that she suggested it for Seo Min-woo's sake, causing Kim Se-ryong to blush. As Mi-ho praises Kim Se-ryong's thoughtfulness, she watches Seo Min-woo joyfully devour the beef. Mi-ho sighs peacefully, remarking that she feels more comfortable here than she ever did in the yokai realm. Her thoughts darken, flashing back to a war-torn landscape as she recalls wanting peace to avoid losing more friends. In a bloody flashback, she remembers her mission is to rescue one of the 7 demon lords to prevent further war with the divine realm. She worries that if the other lords discover the Hoa has weakened, they will attack, while also considering Seo Min-woo's burning hatred of yokai. She fears that if the yokai realm finds out about the preschool and attacks, the consequences will be dire. She acknowledges Seo Min-woo's anger is justified when children are involved, and reflects on his overwhelming power. She realizes that if anything happened to the preschool, Seo Min-woo might annihilate the entire yokai realm, shattering any hope for peace. With fiery resolve, she grips her chopsticks, determined to protect both the yokai realm and the divine beast preschool. Her intense moment is broken as she takes a bite of food, leaving Seo Min-woo staring at her in bewilderment. Seo Min-woo privately worries about how he can exchange the imperial currency he received without getting caught. His main concern is that it would be troublesome if manager Se-ryong were to find out. Kim Se-ryong thinks to herself that with good teachers, it's only a matter of time before the preschool regains its reputation. She observes Mi-ho, the yokai who hopes for peace, and Seo Min-woo stuffing his face. As the three begin their journey together, Kim Se-ryong offers alcohol to Mi-ho, who eagerly accepts. The scene transitions to a bright and sunny Saturday afternoon in the city. Kaya, Seo Min-woo playfully swings a laughing, tiger-eared child around and around. Heave-ho. He launches the gleeful child high into the air as the child hangs onto a climbing net. With sparkling eyes, the delighted child asks him to do it one more time. Exhausted, Seo Min-woo complains he's tired, but the child grabs his arm, begging for another turn. The child points toward a ball pit, and Seo Min-woo sighs, agreeing to one final throw. He regrets his enthusiastic, "Okay, weekend, let's go," from the previous day, while Kim Se-ryong reminds him of their weekend class. A system notification confirms he's using superhuman strength with a 150% effect, as he groans about his self-inflicted suffering. With another powerful heave, he sends the child flying toward the ball pit, who shouts in excitement. The child soars through the air, heading straight for the colorful pit below. He lands with a soft thud in the sea of plastic balls. Splash! A child with horns suddenly pops up from the balls, happily declaring he found the gold ball. The tiger-eared child looks down in confusion as Seo Min-woo is suddenly electrocuted from below. Seo Min-woo shouts for Raki, while the horned child looks up with a soft "Bah?" Raki's eyes glow with a menacing red light as she smirks. The tiger-eared child hangs suspended in midair, confused, as Seo Min-woo panics in the ball pit below. A brilliant blast of golden energy erupts from Raki's hands. Crying, "Watch out!" the tiger-eared child dives through the air to intercept the blast. He bravely lands in front of Raki, taking the full force of the energy blast himself. Thump! The tiger-eared child is violently thrown backward from the impact. He lands face first in the ball pit, legs flailing in the air. Haha! Seo Min-woo bursts out laughing at the sight, joined by the dazed, tiger-eared child. In disbelief, Seo Min-woo wonders if Raki actually managed to dodge the flying child. Raki sheepishly comments that the fall must hurt. but Seo Minwoo thinks she seems perfectly normal. He dismisses the thought, assuming he just jumped poorly, and asks Raki if she's okay. The tiger-eared child leaps up, declaring he's great and begs boss to do it again, while the other children echo the sentiment. A cat-eared child asks if the director is hurt, and Seo Minwoo, surprised, reassures the teacher that he's fine. An image of a perfect soft-serve ice cream cone appears. A finger points toward an ice cream shop as Seo Minwoo realizes their sudden concern was just a ploy for a treat. As a turtle child sleeps in the ball pit, Seo Minwoo offers to get everyone ice cream, revealing he has experience at an ice cream shop. This scene ends with the children enjoying their snacks, two boys shaking hands, and others sleeping peacefully. Seo Minwoo smiles and agrees with the children's request. A tiger-eared child warns a sleeping turtle child named Bobo that someone named Ram will steal his ice cream. Seo Minwoo watches the sleeping child, feeling guilty for bringing such a sleepy kid to the... A system notification appears before him, announcing he has cleared the second floor of the arena. The evaluation screen reveals he achieved an A score and set an all-time high record, earning additional rewards. Dazzle! The reward notification shines brightly. His unique skill, Link, activates, and he smiles, guessing it is connected to Bobo's ability this time. A skill window displays the new ability, Curl Up, which increases defense with no cooldown. He marvels at the simple yet powerful skill, noting its lack of a cooldown. Bobo sleeps soundly, curled up with his ice cream cone still in hand. Privately, Seo Minwoo declares that Bobo is far better than that squirrel jerk, Rada. The scene transitions to a sunny equestrian field, where two figures ride horses. An older man with a mustache watches as an unseen child wails about being treated unfairly. A young girl with pink hair throws a tantrum, furious that she was the only one who didn't get to go to the kids' cafe. Now on the ground, she continues her fit, screaming that she wants to go to the cafe immediately. The man tries to distract her with gelato from Italy, but she refuses, yelling that she wants to see the director. While outwardly trying to calm her, the man reflects that he's glad she's doing better since director I.M. Joo-hee left. He muses that she likes the preschool more now, recalling how a girl named A-young eagerly told an attendant named Sebastian she was ready for school at 7 a.m. He finally gives in and agrees to ask the director, and A-young happily pats the horse's nose. The man sighs to himself, feeling bad for the director but seeing no other choice. Back at the preschool, Seo Minwoo takes a call and is shocked to hear A-young is on her way over. He walks purposefully through the preschool's courtyard. On the phone, he forces a cheerful laugh, but inwardly despairs over his ruined Saturday. Crack, his grip tightens, and the screen of his phone shatters. Boom! As he runs through the main hall, lamenting his fate, a massive explosion erupts just ahead of him. A thick cloud of smoke and debris billows through the ornate hall. Coughing, Seo Minwoo is enveloped by the dust from the blast. He emerges from the smoke, protected by a blue hexagonal shield, exclaiming in fright as the curl-up skill is shown to be active. His expression turns to one of surprised realization as he looks at the shimmering shield around him. A system alert states the skill's effect is reduced to 80% due to his distance from the source, as an impact strikes his barrier. He coughs up blood, realizing the shield didn't block the entire attack and his body is taking damage. With a fierce glare, he focuses on his unseen attacker. The culprits are revealed. A trio of goblins, with the largest one gleefully holding a bomb. A system window identifies the creature as a one-star goblin bomber. Seo Minwoo wonders if they're from the World Tree Garden again and questions where the guardian spirit beast is. As he complains about dangerous things appearing, a small panel shows Rada blissfully watching a drama on a tablet. Arge Goblin hurls a bomb, and Seo Minwoo is caught in a fiery explosion. Now singed, he furiously demands to know how they will pay for the damages, only to be interrupted by A-young calling out to him. He turns in sheer panic, shocked to see A-young has already arrived. The goblin bomber unleashes a volley of bombs that rain down directly on A-young. The sparkling bombs arc through the air toward their target. Damn Minwoo curses as an explosion goes off nearby. Bang! He dashes through the chaos, grabs A-young, and leaps to safety, screaming for her to get out of the way. Flustered but thrilled, A-young recognizes the Princess Carrie as her favorite scene from the show Beast Hero. She recalls the specific moment from episode 26 where the red hero saves the pink hero. While Seo Minwoo groans about how tiring she is, A-young thinks to herself that he is truly strong, just like the hero. He lands forcefully, skidding to a halt on the floor. A system window alerts him that his superhuman strength skill is currently on cooldown for another 6 minutes. He remembers using the skill at the kids' cafe, realizing he's now stuck without his power boost. Grunting through the explosion, Seo Min-woo reflects that he could handle this alone. But A-Young's presence complicates things, and he wonders why she had to come today. Panicking about the lobby's destruction, he considers escaping to the World Tree as more bombs fall. Boom. Another goblin bomb detonates in a flash of fiery orange. As the bomber goblin celebrates, Seo Min-woo realizes he's missing the other 2 minions. Suddenly, the 2 smaller goblins ambush him from above and below, forcing him to guard A-Young. He panics as he realizes the attacks are perfectly timed to hit him simultaneously. Arge! A powerful blow sends him skidding across the floor in a shower of sparks. Blinded by smoke and weakened, he considers using his curl-up skill for protection. A voice cries out for the director, and Seo Min-woo looks up from the wreckage. A-Young flips into view, ready for action. She declares that she will take care of the enemy wearing a hat. Striking a heroic pose beside her Pink Ranger toy, A-Young announces, "Pink, deploy!" Seo Min-woo stares in utter disbelief at her sudden declaration. Resolved, he tells A-Young he's counting on her as they stand together amidst the chaos. She gracefully somersaults into position, awaiting his command. Shocked again, he clarifies that he's counting on her to cover the rear. Beast Hero, protect the preschool. Together, Seo Min-woo and A-Young charge through a corridor of fiery explosions. Impressed by her rabbit-like senses, he praises her and asks her to keep calling out enemy positions. Following A-Young's precise, dance-like instructions, Seo Min-woo flawlessly dodges a flurry of goblin attacks. Finding the ordeal fun, A-Young tells him to raise both hands, while he pants that he's dying from exhaustion. She warns him that she hears footsteps approaching from both sides. Surrounded, Seo Min-woo asks if she knows the meteor kick, surprising her as he tells her to get ready. A-Young focuses her energy, preparing to unleash the special move. "Now," he yells, and her leg ignites with brilliant pink power. They execute a perfectly synchronized meteor kick, targeting the 2 goblins on either side. Their powerful kicks connect simultaneously, shattering the ground around them. Standing back to back, they watch as their coordinated attack lands with explosive force. A-Young excitedly identifies their move as the double kick from her show, and he awkwardly praises her. With his shield active, Seo Min-woo charges headfirst into the fire toward the final goblin. After defeating the minions, he realizes the flying bomb goblin is the real threat and worries he can't reach it. Determined to survive, he pushes through the fiery onslaught, hoping to hold out a little longer. He and A-Young look on in horror at the unfolding destruction. The preschool's grand fountain lies shattered in pieces. A woman with blonde hair watches the chaos, wondering how the expensive, magically protected fountain was destroyed. "My money," Seo Min-woo wails in agony as the explosions tear through his costly preschool. One by one, he watches in horror as a gifted flower pot and a pricey table are blown to bits. A 30-second countdown appears on screen, ticking down ominously amid the flames. "My preschool," he screams, watching helplessly as the goblin bomber prepares another devastating attack. The blonde woman yells at the dummy director, urging him to get to safety immediately. She frantically calls for him to hurry back as the goblin unleashes a barrage of bombs. Finally, superhuman strength activates, and he challenges the goblin, "Come at me." With a single powerful burst of energy, he obliterates all the incoming bombs in a massive explosion. A-Young stares in wide-eyed awe at the incredible display of power. Shouting for the director, Seo Min-woo rockets into the sky, his shielded fist aimed directly at the goblin bomber. Screaming with fury, Seo Min-woo declares the goblin will pay for all the repairs with magic stones. Wham! He delivers a powerful, fiery punch directly to the goblin bomber's face. The sheer force of the blow sends the goblin hurtling through the air. A-Young watches in awe as the defeated goblin drops a massive, glowing blue magic stone. Landing heavily, Seo Min-woo stumbles, exhausted from unleashing his power. "Wow!" A-Young cheers for her director, her eyes sparkling with adoration. She runs towards Seo Min-woo through the wreckage, exclaiming how cool he was. The scene shifts to the quiet exterior of the preschool as a yellow van waits by the curb. An unseen guardian carries A-Young away as she waves a heartfelt goodbye to Seo Min-woo. Alone in the destroyed lobby, Seo Minwoo sighs in frustration, muttering how annoying the situation is. Director! A woman calls from the stairs, and he turns, surprised to see Ms. Si Ryong on a weekend. Ignoring his question, Ms. Si Ryong panics, demanding to know what happened and fearing the worst. She sighs in relief upon learning no one was hurt, thankful for their safety. He reassures her they can fix the damage with restoration magic, a concept she finds unbelievable. With tears of relief, he explains they can hire a dimensional merchant from the Arsene continent to restore everything. Ms. Si Ryong volunteers to make the call and heads to the CCTV room, entrusting him to handle the merchant. Handing him a card, she instructs him to have all expenses billed to the provided account. After he agrees, she walks away through the debris-strewn hall. He collapses, lamenting his return to a beggar's life now that everything is smashed to pieces. Clutching his last 3 magic stones, he bitterly curses the goblin for the financial ruin. His attention is caught by an object on the floor as he spots the goblin's abandoned hat. A pair of simple brown sandals lies on the dusty floor. Frustrated, he realizes the goblin-exclusive item is useless to him and impatiently calls for the merchant. A blue portal opens, and a small, raccoon-like merchant named Loafer appears, announcing his arrival. Loafer, the dimensional merchant, beams, cheerfully apologizing for the wait. Seo Minwoo questions the talking raccoon dog, but Loafer corrects him, insisting he's a raccoon. Loafer explains he's using translation magic, but Seo Minwoo notes the poor lip-syncing. Loafer confirms the request for magical restoration and remodeling, ready to get to work. With a glint in his eye, he eagerly announces it's time to survey the damage. Loafer warns that the estimate will be high and they only accept payment in silver notes, confusing Seo Minwoo. Seo Minwoo examines a strange piece of currency, a silver note. He recalls that a single silver note is equivalent to 1 million won. Loafer tallies up the restoration costs on a small abacus, listing numerous fees. He presents the final bill, 130 silver notes, a staggering 1.3 billion won. Stunned, Seo Minwoo stares at an abacus, shouting in disbelief at the 130 million won cost. He nervously decides to use the corporate account, only to find the balance is a mere 20 million won. He collapses to his knees, clutching his head in utter despair over his impossible debt. In his mind, he desperately wonders where all the tuition money disappeared to. Trying to haggle, he points out minor scratches, but Loafer questions his conscience. "Without conscience, I'm a corpse," he shamelessly replies, accusing Loafer of overcharging him. Loafer calmly breaks down the costs, including an emergency call-out fee and extensive remodeling. He adds that wartime inflation means they're also taking a loss, sending Seo Minwoo into a spiral of gloom. Spotting the footwear on the floor, Loafer asks if the sandals belong to him. Loafer inspects the shoes, identifying them as high-quality B-grade equipment, despite their slight odor. A devious smile spreads across Seo Minwoo's face as Loafer asks if he would consider selling them. Seo Minwoo praises Loafer's sharp eye, while Loafer bashfully admits appraisal is just a hobby. Feigning reluctance, Seo Minwoo thoughtfully claims he's quite fond of the shoes. He explains they aren't the kind of item he can simply sell to any customer. Loafer's eyes light up, imagining the shoe's powerful double jump ability on a mighty warrior. Seizing the opportunity, Seo Minwoo offers to sell the shoes for 130 notes, calling it a fair price. Feigning attachment to the shoes, Seo Minwoo sighs, while Loafer anxiously considers the increased price of 140 notes. Shoving the smelly shoes forward, Seo Minwoo raises the price to 160 notes, shocking Loafer. Outraged, Loafer calls him a scammer and flatly refuses to buy the shoes. Seo Minwoo calmly raises the price again to 170 notes, causing Loafer to yell in disbelief. Loafer tries to settle for 160 notes, but Seo Minwoo ruthlessly raises the price to 190. Continuing his bluff, Seo Minwoo threatens to raise the price even further if he doesn't buy now. Weeping, Loafer laments that such rare, high-option items are never on the market and finally caves. With grim determination, Loafer agrees to 190 notes, declaring it his absolute final offer. Seo Minwoo cheerfully accepts, noting the 60 silver notes left for remodeling, and thanks his gobbly raccoon customer, much to Loafer's annoyance. Cuddling the shoes, Loafer grumbles that Seo Minwoo is a monster but justifies the high price due to wartime demand. Loafer vows to remember this, planning to sell the shoes at a premium later and return to brag. Giggling deviously, Seo Minwoo reveals his masterstroke, The shoes are goblin exclusive and can't be worn by anyone else. As a service, Seo Minwoo offers Loafer a pass to access the magic shop street. Loafer explains that holding the pass while standing on a portal automatically sets the coordinates to the shopping district. Examining the pass, Seo Minwoo wonders if he can exchange his silver notes for cash there. Loafer proudly invites him to visit his shop, the largest in the Arson continent, promising great items and a discount. With a flourish, Loafer prepares to depart with his crew and equipment, ready to begin the repairs. Let's start the construction. Seo Minwoo announces as a team of raccoons swarms into the lobby. The raccoon construction crew works with surprising efficiency, using ropes and pulleys to repair a damaged statue. Impressed by their rapid progress, Seo Minwoo decides to leave the restoration work entirely to the raccoons. The scene shifts to the CCTV room, where Ms. Si Ryong monitors various otherworldly gates and monster activities. Seo Minwoo storms in, calling for manager Kim, and she asks how his deal with the dimensional merchant went. He slams a passbook down, angrily demanding to know why the corporate account only has 20 million won. She explains she used funds for official expenses and offers to help cover the 130 million won remodeling cost. He dismisses her offer, explaining he somehow managed to cover the costs by selling the goblin shoes. Surprised at his resourcefulness, she silently reflects that she kept his Arena 1 magic stones a secret for his own benefit. He demands to know where all the money went, and she reveals it's for maintaining the world tree. She explains that expensive magical nutrients and scrolls to prevent yokai intrusions are why parents pay such high tuition. Calling it a money-sucking tree, Seo Minwoo looks unimpressed, but she insists it's essential for garden maintenance. He privately complains that the tree's high cost isn't beneficial for him at all. Conceding that at least they aren't in debt, he finally asks why she summoned him to the control room. She reveals they have identified the route the monster used to infiltrate the preschool. His eyes widen in shock as he stares at the monitor. What on earth is that, he asks, looking at the ominous scene on the screen. A massive, crackling red portal pulsates with raw, chaotic energy before an ancient structure. A hulking monster emerges from the portal, a smaller goblin perched defiantly on its shoulder. A cute photo shows several of the preschool children in martial arts uniforms, posing playfully. Staring at the monitor, Seo Minwoo asks what he's seeing, and she grimly identifies it as a red portal. She explains that the world tree is cursed by the yokai realm, and red portals appear when its power weakens, allowing monsters through. Frustrated, Seo Minwoo realizes the preschool is far from normal and is filled with dangerous secrets. She continues, explaining that the portal cycle has quickened and turned red, signaling a deeper connection to the yokai realm. He correctly guesses the recent monster came through a similar portal and asks if there's any way to stop them. She states that until the world tree's curse is lifted, there's nothing they can do to prevent more monsters from appearing. He panics, realizing his life, the children's safety, and the preschool's finances are all in constant jeopardy. He asks about the spirit beast that's supposed to be guarding the garden, and she reminds him that he should know best. She identifies the spirit beast as Ratatosk, the squirrel-like creature he carries, calling it a good-for-nothing rodent. Deciding on a course of action, she announces she will post an emergency parent meeting notice and inform the chairman. As she leaves, Seo Minwoo stands alone in the quiet control room. Lost in thought, he realizes the night duty room is no longer safe and decides he needs to find a separate, secure room. Unwilling to live where monsters could appear at any moment, he resolves to prioritize his own survival above all else. The tale continues as a shower of stars is shown falling from the sky. A single star crashes into a bush, erupting in a brilliant flash of light as Miu watches. A close-up shows a smiling Miu holding a radiant, powerful orb against her chest. The storybook's ending reveals the hero gave away her power and lived a long, happy life with her loved ones. The scene shifts to a formal meeting room, where Ms. Suryong addresses a group of seated parents. He speculates that Seo Minwoo must be stronger than they thought, and decides to continue observing him. A special accomplishment window appears before Seo Minwoo, rewarding him with a unique skill for defending the preschool. He stares in confusion, wondering why he's receiving a reward for the goblin incident so late. Deciding not to look a gift horse in the mouth, he reaches out to accept the skill. A celestial light reveals his second unique skill, following his first achievement skill link. A surge of magical energy manifests as a swirl of vibrant green leaves. A massive, ethereal tree appears as the skill's spring of magical power is detailed, promising a permanent, cumulative magic increase near the world tree. The skill activates, and he finally realizes the true potential of staying at the preschool. Level Up, a chibi version of him, celebrates his newfound power. He playfully strikes a pose, wondering if this means he'll be able to cast spells like a real mage. His excitement dies as he realizes the catch. To benefit, he must abandon his plans to move out of the dangerous preschool. A flood of information on charging magical power appears, oddly highlighting its use for improving skin, much to his confusion. A woman's voice calls his title, and he turns to see teacher Miho, urging him to come quickly. Miho grabs his wrist, insisting that what she has to show him is far more important. She excitedly pulls him through the grand hall, where Miss Seoryung waits patiently. As Miho rushes past, Seo Minwoo looks around and notes how well the renovations turned out. Miho proudly presents the fixed fountain, exclaiming that the water is now warm. He numbly agrees, thinking about the tough negotiations and how his own tears are warm too. His attention is drawn to a peculiar tree decorated with the children's faces. A closer look reveals a praise sticker board, a tree for displaying the children's achievements. Miho explains that the remodeling company included the board as a free service. One of the staff members wonders if their photos will be added to the board as well. Miho leans in close, asking if he thinks the board will help the children bond, but his expression remains blank. Hands begin placing heart-shaped praise stickers onto the children's pictures. As Miho demonstrates putting up the stickers, Seo Minwoo privately observes that she seems to enjoy this sort of thing. Miho excitedly suggests getting matching uniforms for all the children, but he looks unsure. She gushes, imagining all the kids waddling around in adorable duck outfits. When she presses him for an answer, he bluntly refuses, thinking about the likely cost. Ms. Seoryung steps forward, raising her hand to declare that she is in favor of the uniforms. Seo Minwoo sighs, defeated, realizing he can't refuse now that Manager Kim is on board. Miho clasps her hands in delight, while Ms. Seoryung watches with a hint of a satisfied smile. Ms. Seoryung immediately produces a stack of catalogs, ready to choose uniforms, prompting Seo Minwoo to accuse her of planning this all along. She then pivots, handing a clipboard to a surprised Miho and announcing it's the new curriculum. As Miho takes the clipboard, Ms. Seoryung assures her the contents won't be too difficult. Ms. Seoryung leads Seo Minwoo away as Miho glumly contemplates the reality of more work for less money. Hi! Reading the new curriculum, Miho's cat features suddenly appear as she lets out a terrified shriek. Wow! The children, now all sporting various animal ears and tails, gaze in wonder at the renovated hall. They run around the new space, excitedly discovering new toys. A yawning Seo Minwoo gently corrects a sleepy child, telling him the fountain is not a swimming pool. Watching the children play so happily, he smiles and considers that making changes might not be so bad after all. He immediately shakes his head, catching himself and thinking such sentimentality is dangerous. Ouch! Two children accidentally bump heads while playing. A girl with rabbit ears turns and asks her friend why they've stopped. Roar. The children discover a large display cabinet and excitedly mistake it for a cat tower. A panicked Seo Minwoo yells at a child climbing the cabinet to get down, but he just shouts back that it's fun. He turns to find two more children, one holding a teddy bear, looking up at him with wide, hopeful eyes. From the top of the stairs, a girl with silver hair warns Miu to stop and yells at the other children to get down. Leaning over the railing, the same girl TSKS, calling them all fools for how they're playing. Two children call up to her, asking Kane to play freeze tag, but she dismisses them, saying she's too busy. Ayoung shouts up at Kane, angrily accusing her of lying about being busy just to avoid playing. Kane sighs, deciding to hold back and not react to everything, reaffirming her goal to get stronger for her sister's approval. She recalls her royal identity as Prince Kane of the Arsen continent, whose magical talent has always been compared to her sister's. A vision of immense magical power manifests as a glowing blue orb, held between two hands. Kane clenches her fist with resolve, thinking she still has a long way to go to please her sister. She internally criticizes the preschool as a disappointment, a low-level academy that hasn't boosted her magical power as promised. Kya, looking down, she dismisses her classmates as dimwits, just as the cabinet they are climbing begins to topple over. A blonde-haired teacher panics, screaming that Ram is in danger while Kane reaches out instinctively from the balcony. Gruel Ram tumbles from the falling cabinet, crashing directly onto Bobo, who is wearing a turtle shell. Ram rubs his head, complaining that it hurts, as the alarmed teacher rushes down the stairs toward the commotion. Kane watches from above with an annoyed expression, sighing that Ram has caused trouble and expecting Bobo to start crying again. With a fresh bandage on his head, Ram insists he's not crying, much to Bobo's confusion. Sob. The teacher scoops Ram into a hug, praising Bobo for being so brave, while Bobo yawns and boasts that he didn't feel a thing. Kane stares in disbelief from the railing, shocked that the infamous crybaby Bobo isn't crying and wondering what is happening. Bobo is equally stunned, clenching his fists and thinking it's impossible that he didn't cry. A young peeks out from behind a man's leg, cheerfully announcing that Bobo has overcome his trial too. The word trial confuses Kane, who wonders if they mean the ridiculous yogurt conference or the arena. The children marvel at Bobo's new green glow, leading A-Young to realize that going to the arena makes you stronger. Inspired by a vision of her sister praising her, Kane's eyes gleam with fiery determination. She grabs onto two pillars, deciding that the fastest way to the arena is to go through Director SEO. A chibi version of Kane glares intensely at Seo Minwoo, who feels her stare and assumes the chaos has been resolved. Seo Minwoo shivers unexpectedly, wondering what's causing the sudden chills running down his spine. Kane suddenly appears directly in front of him, getting his attention by calling out his title. She points at a startled Seo Minwoo, aggressively demanding he take her to the arena right now. Seo Minwoo flatly refuses, his rejection leaving Kane utterly frozen in blue-tinged shock. Kane furiously demands to know why she isn't allowed to go when A-Young, Ram, and Bobo went. A vision of the three children posing as the Beast Hero team flashes through her mind. A ghostly, sad version of Kane asks what makes her different, questioning why Seo Minwoo seems to hate only her. Her inner thoughts reveal deep-seated insecurities about being weak, lacking magical power, and being only half because she has no legs. A painful memory surfaces of shadowy figures taunting her as half-pint and half-prince, with a voice reassuring her she'd be fine at preschool. Blushing with determination, Kane vows to do anything to get stronger, timidly addressing him as B-Boss. Her snake-like lower half now visible, Kane earnestly promises she will behave from now on. A surprised Seo Minwoo clarifies he only refused because the arena isn't open yet, causing Kane to realize this is her chance. He sets a condition. She must use honorifics with all adults, not just him, and asks if she's capable. With fierce determination and a sharp-toothed grin, Kane enthusiastically agrees. He accepts her resolve and agrees to take her, but not immediately, leaving her to ask why in disappointment. As Kane dejectedly slithers away, Seo Minwoo muses that this is the first time a child has ever asked to go to the arena. He realizes they should prepare for the arena's third floor and is shocked that the system seems to be reading his mind. A system notice immediately appears, directing him to the Goblin General Store in the Magic Shop Street. An ornate, glowing portal materializes before him in a brilliant flash of light. He takes a resolute step forward, walking through the shimmering magical doorway. Ugh, he groans, as he emerges into a dazzlingly bright, futuristic cityscape filled with flying ships and advanced architecture. He finds himself in a lively marketplace, where a cheerful vendor in overalls proudly displays a large, fresh fish. He observes the bustling street filled with winged people and strange creatures and confirms he's in the Magic Shop Street. His eyes widen in sheer astonishment. Utterly amazed that a place like this truly exists, he spots a large, blob-like creature and wonders if these beings are divine beasts or even human. Overwhelmed by the bustling crowd, he feels hopelessly lost and wishes he had brought Manager Sirion with him. A system window conveniently appears, notifying him that a necessary item has been found nearby. A holographic map materializes, providing him with turn-by-turn directions. Wondering if he has a navigation system, he's then warned to beware of pickpockets 600 meters ahead. Back in the Grand Hall, Seo Minwoo considers the damn squirrel, Ram. Thinking Ram needs to earn his keep and was helpful before, he heads towards a large door. With a sly grin, he decides to bring Ram along for the next challenge. The scene shifts to a bright, beautiful courtyard with a massive tree at its center. Cupping his hands to his mouth, Seo Minwoo yells for Ram the squirrel. Squeak! From high in the tree, Ram peeks out, asking what his minion wants. The small squirrel effortlessly scales a tall stone wall, zipping past a banner. Ram indignantly squeaks about earning his keep when he's never been fed, but Seo Minwoo retorts that he sneaks into his room every night. Wham! Ram's tail smashes into the ground right beside Seo Minwoo with surprising force. Ram calls him petty, and Seo Minwoo smugly challenges him to do something about it as Kane watches from nearby. Kane stares with wide, golden eyes, completely taken aback by the exchange. She grabs Seo Minwoo's arm in utter shock, asking if all humans on Earth can talk to squirrels. With Ram now perched contentedly on his shoulder, Seo Minwoo smiles. Ready to proceed, Kane watches in bewilderment as Seo Minwoo walks away with the squirrel and the broom. At the arena's entrance, a system window announces that D-grade unknown equipment cannot be used on the 3rd floor. Another notification confirms his healing silver ring won't work either, leading Seo Minwoo to conclude the broom is just an ordinary item. He and Kane stand before the massive golden doors of the arena's 3rd floor. They step through the entrance into a dark, overgrown forest shrouded in mystery. As Seo Minwoo wonders where they are, Kane looks up in horror, recognizing a terrible threat. A massive necro serpent appears as Kane shouts its name, confirmed by a system window identifying it as a 2-star monster. Seo Minwoo panics, shocked to see a 2-star monster on just the 3rd floor. He realizes with dread that the previous clue about snakes meant they'd have to fight this powerful creature. The enormous serpent looms over them, its scales glistening in the dim light. Its fanged mouth opens wide in a terrifying hiss, preparing to strike. Seo Minwoo feels a surge of panic, regretting bringing Kane to face such a dangerous monster. Kane timidly asks what they should do, and while admitting he's scared too, he quickly suggests they need a strategy meeting. He mentally reviews his limited skills, superhuman strength, meteor kick, and curl up, and questions if they're enough to win. Wondering how to use his mistletoe power, he glares at the broom and curses the system for making him bring something so useless. Suddenly, the goblin broom begins glowing with blue energy as system notices declare it's absorbing his magic, synchronizing with him, and recognizing him as its owner. The scene changes to a bustling port city, the Guma Fortress, known as the Empire's Free Market. Inside a shop, a bearded cyclops with his feet up laughs maniacally, calling his last customer a sucker. He counts his earnings, pleased to have made 53 silver notes in just 2 days. As he dreams of owning the entire fortress, the shop door opens, and he starts to greet the customer. His greeting freezes as he stares in shock at the visitor, stammering, Elder? The Cyclops bows nervously before an elder and a woman in red, wondering why they're here. The woman confirms to the elder that this is the place. The elder addresses the shopkeeper as Dohan and sternly asks where the item he was entrusted with is. The woman, Arin, clarifies they are looking for the broom. CSK, Dohan nervously recalls selling the junk broom for 3 notes, regretting he didn't ask for more. The elder expresses his disgust that their divine object was kept in such a place, but Aaron defends the choice, saying it seemed safest. Dohan is stunned to learn the broom is a divine object, as the elder commands him to bring it at once. A vision of the broom fills Dohan's mind as he panics, realizing he'll be killed if they discover he sold it. Erg. Clutching his chest in a pained gesture, Dohan tries to think of an excuse to tell Arin. He collapses dramatically, fabricating a story that an evil thief stole the precious item. A wave of dark, furious energy erupts from the elder, who roars in anger about the insolent fool who dared steal from them. Under Arin's questioning, a terrified Dohan claims 2 humans, a man and a woman, who visited a day ago were the thieves. The elder listens with a grim and menacing expression, his eyes narrowed. A narration over a map explains that the conditions for becoming the owner of a divine object are extremely strict. One must either possess pure magical power or the power of the extinct world tree, making it impossible for a mere human to become its owner. The elder confidently declares that he can locate the divine object with his Taoist arts, no matter how well a human hides. He glares down at the kneeling Dohan, warning him he will be held responsible if the divine object is not recovered. Bang, a door is violently thrown open somewhere far away. The elder channels a vortex of swirling purple energy, performing his Taoist arts. With glowing golden eyes, the elder focuses his power, having pinpointed his target. His mystical energy surrounds the image of a simple straw broom. The energy trail leads him to a vision of Seo Minwoo in a forest as he triumphantly declares, "Found it." The scene pauses on a promotional page, showcasing various characters from the unfolding story. Back in the arena, Seo Minwoo stares at the glowing broom in surprise, wondering what's happening. Realizing the broom is special after all, his thoughts are shattered by a monstrous shriek that fills the forest. Cain flinches, visibly shaken by the terrifying, high-pitched scream. The necroserpent appears as Seo Minwoo checks its status, learning its scales are immune to electricity. He forms a new plan, realizing the only way to use electricity is to strike inside the serpent's mouth. Looking at the squirrel on his shoulder, Seo Minwoo tells Ram it's time to earn his keep. He orders Ram to discharge electricity on his signal, but Ram defiantly squeaks that he doesn't take orders from lackeys. Seo Minwoo pouts as Ram pointedly ignores his command with a dismissive expression. He orders Cain to hide, but she insists on helping. He flatly refuses, frustrating her. With tears of exertion in his eyes, he plants his foot, determined to hold his ground. Facing the massive serpent, Seo Minwoo sighs, pondering the difficulty of attacking inside its mouth. He curses the damn snake, prompting a pouting Cain to ask if he's talking about her. Gak! The serpent lets out a piercing shriek. Yelling for Cain to step back, Seo Minwoo activates his superhuman strength skill and charges forward to intercept the serpent's attack. Power surges around his body as he prepares to block the immense creature. His enhanced kick connects with the serpent's lunge in a burst of light and power. Thud! The impact reverberates through the forest. He successfully blocks the gigantic serpent's head with a single, powerful kick. He lands, panting heavily from the immense strain of the defensive maneuver. He looks at his trembling hands in shock, amazed at the serpent's power. A wisp of dark, poisonous smoke begins to emanate from the serpent. As the toxic smoke spreads, Seo Minwoo wonders where it came from before clutching his throat, unable to breathe. The serpent shrieks again as Seo Minwoo frantically warns Cain to cover her mouth. Covering his own mouth, he panics, realizing the poisonous mist is driving him mad. Suddenly, the broom unleashes a wave of purifying light, unlocking its air purifier function and absorbing the toxic energy. Stunned but overjoyed, Seo Minwoo realizes the broom has an air purification effect and declares it awesome. The serpent recoils, temporarily blinded and pushed back by the broom's holy light. Seeing the serpent preparing to strike again, Seo Minwoo resolves to fight back, using both superhuman strength and curl up. A system window confirms the activation of his defensive skill, curl up. A massive explosion erupts as the serpent's attack collides with his enhanced defense. Cain worriedly calls out to him, watching as he's pushed back while struggling inside the necroserpent's jaws. She admits to herself that despite her brave words, she was too scared to move, wondering if the other children faced similar horrors. A vision of her sister appears, telling her to snap out of it and remember she came here to get stronger, not be ridiculed. Filled with new resolve, Cain clenches her fists, determined to do something to help. She shouts that she can create a magic sphere, and though struggling, Seo Minwoo grunts his approval for her to try. "Yes, boss," she yells, pouring all her concentration into gathering golden energy between her hands. Frustrated, she cries out as the small sphere of light refuses to grow any larger. She desperately commands her magic to grow bigger. The serpent's massive fangs close in, threatening to crush Seo Minwoo. Seo Minwoo thinks that if he can just keep the serpent's mouth open, he'll have a chance to attack. He strains against the monster's immense jaw strength, desperately trying to figure out how to hold it in place. He turns in surprise, noticing the small but brilliant magic sphere Cain has successfully created. While holding the serpent's mouth open, he shouts praise to Cain, telling her she's doing great and is the best. Hearing his words of encouragement, Cain looks down at her glowing magic sphere in hopeful surprise. His praise fills Cain with confidence, causing her small magic sphere to pulse with brilliant yellow light. To her own joyous surprise, she exclaims that the sphere of light suddenly grew much bigger. Seo Minwoo groans, his legs trembling as he struggles to hold the serpent's jaws open. With all his might, he uses the broom as a lever to prop the massive fangs apart. Oh, a flash of insight strikes him as he sees the glowing magic sphere. Seizing the opportunity, Seo Minwoo yells for Cain to unleash her attack now. Overflowing with power, Cain screams for her boss to get out of the way. Yaba. She hurls the golden sphere of energy, as Seo Min-woo looks back in anticipation. The brilliant magical projectile flies straight toward the incapacitated necro-serpent. Thud. The energy sphere collides with the serpent's maw with explosive force. As the serpent reels, Seo Min-woo praises Kane for her excellent support. Using the momentary distraction, he leaps out from between the serpent's fangs. Keek! The serpent lets out a choked shriek of agony. The magical broom remains firmly lodged in the back of the beast's throat. Landing safely, Seo Min-woo feigns concern before smirking, impressed that the broom didn't break. As the serpent gags, he realizes this is their perfect chance to attack, while its mouth is forced open. Zap Kane summons Ram the squirrel, who crackles with electric energy. With a powerful swing, she throws the electrified squirrel like a fastball. Ram soars directly toward the serpent's vulnerable open mouth. Let's go, Seo Min-woo yells, his body crackling with golden lightning. He screams Ram's name as the squirrel transforms into a living thunderbolt. A blinding flash of electricity erupts from inside the serpent's throat. The massive necro-serpent is engulfed in a powerful, convulsive electrical storm. Kane watches the brilliant spectacle with wide-eyed, hopeful awe. Arcs of lightning course through the serpent's body as it's electrocuted from within. A final, powerful surge of energy emanates from the defeated creature. A system window announces Kane is shedding her skin for her first awakening, shocking Seo Min-woo. Her status card reveals her true name is Alexander Draconis Treacherous, as she evolves from a serpent into an electric eel. Both Seo Min-woo and Ram stare in utter disbelief at her sudden transformation. Her lower body now shimmers with durable, protective scales. Looking down at her new form, she proudly thinks she can finally brag to her sister. Kneeling nearby, Seo Min-woo observes that her scales have hardened significantly. A system window confirms he's cleared the floor with a new high score, wondering how he managed it. Arg, he screams in exhausted relief as the reward notification flies toward the golden doors. He collapses, heart pounding from the startling ordeal, as Kane asks if they're leaving. Agreeing to go, Seo Min-woo resolves to make a good impression, while Kane is awed by his strength. He frantically searches the ground for an item dropped by the massive serpent. He triumphantly holds up a bloody purple crystal, smiling menacingly as he tells Kane it's time to go. Kane trembles, shocked and frightened by his sudden and dark change in attitude. The scene shifts to the dark, moonlit forest floor later that night. The Elder and Aaron arrive, having tracked the divine object to the arena. The Elder calmly assesses the scene, stating that the confrontation is already over. Before them lies the massive, bloodied corpse of the defeated necro-serpent. The Elder deduces the owner of the divine object got away, and Aaron confirms they left recently. They are alerted by a rustling sound as another figure emerges from the trees. A bipedal turtle with a shell on its back confronts them, asking who they are. The Elder recognizes the creature as part of the goblin tribe, questioning why he's in this territory. The goblin furiously accuses them of recklessly killing their valuable serpent and siding with their enemies, the Mushaming. A violent, bloody impact rips through the goblin's body. The Elder tells Aaron they must leave, and she quietly agrees. Aaron glances back, a flicker of suspicion crossing her face. She notices a shed snake skin, wondering why it's so small for a necro-serpent. The Elder calls for Aaron to hurry up, and she quickly follows, dismissing her concerns as unnecessary in a place full of monsters. Two swift impacts strike the ground near a fallen body in the clearing. In the dark forest, the goblin's corpse lies alone in the grass. The goblin's hand twitches one last time as he lies defeated. She announces that the yokai realm has officially declared war on the goblin tribe, stunning the Elder. A girl with cat ears drools in happy anticipation of a meal. A system window details the goblin broom, a D-grade divine object that grows with its chosen owner.